making multiple attempts to purchase fuel, with some trying to circumvent limits amid fears of an imminent price increase.
Hearing from other customers, other garages are closed, they don't pour petrol, others have increased their prices dramatically. We don't know when this 30-litre limit will last.
The restriction suggests pressure at retail level, likely driven by a surge in demand and stock management concerns. The Mineral and Petroleum Resources Department maintains that any supply disruptions are local and logistical, not a result of national shortages or international developments. Munge Ziko, Eyewitness News.
In developments in the Middle East escalations, U.S. President Donald Trump says the month-long U.S.-Israel war against Iran has achieved regime change and there's a deal on the cards. Trump says Iranian leaders have been killed and the new leadership is much more reasonable. But the Speaker of Iran's parliament has accused Washington of using diplomacy as a smokescreen after reports the U.S. is planning a ground attack. Trump spoke to reporters on his Air Force One plane.
I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't. But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change.
Back home now, the Border Management Authority says it is operating with just 25% of the resources it needs ahead of the Easter period. The authority has highlighted limited staffing and equipment, including 4 drones to monitor all 71 ports of entry. Part of the measures taken include uniquely numbered passport stamps aimed at tracking officials and reducing fraud. BMA Commissioner Michael Siapato says they will rely on coordinated law enforcement operations and increased oversight for effective monitoring.
BMA is sitting at around just below 2,600 individuals in the ecosystem. We have emphasized that according to the structure, we are meant to be around 11,200. So there's basically more than 8,500 people short who are supposed to come through.
And the Eastern Cape's ANC leadership will meet with the party's national officials today to take stock of a postponed provincial conference. Leader Oscar Mabuyane also says the gathering could reconvene as early as next month. A group of disgruntled members were granted an interim interdict to stop the conference from proceeding until it resolves its internal disputes over branches. Babalondenze takes a look.
Oscar Mabuyane says they will meet the party's national officials today to hold face-to-face discussions with the party's top leadership over the failed conference. Mabuyane told delegates at the weekend that the court interdict was not of their own making and they've done everything right.
We are going to the national leadership. We've spoken to the national leadership. They are also keen because they want us to find a collective solution on this particular matter moving forward.
He says the court instructed the party to resolve its internal disputes before moving ahead, and this could happen as early as next month.
This conference is going to sit, comrades. It must sit before the end of April.
Provincial Secretary Lulama Tobi, meanwhile, was forced to reject a letter announcing his resignation, calling it fake news. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News, Kukombo in the Eastern Cape.
Gold's trading at $4,505.80 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.73 to the pound, 19.72 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $114.95 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got peak time delays already on the N3 North between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic along the N12 East. In fact, an accident reported right after Craft Road. It's already causing some issues there.
And in your sport, Bafana friendly with Panama tomorrow night is sold out. Tottenham Hotspur have axed manager Igor Tudor, who was in charge for only 7 games. Titans are one-day cup champions. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets. And in the United Rugby Championship, another clean sweep for the South African teams.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 16 and 30. Vereeniging 13 and 27. The top story in EWN this hour. Fuel limits are being introduced at some petrol stations along Johannesburg's R59, despite government insisting there's no national shortage.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock, it's the start of a brand new week. It's Monday, the 30th of March, 2026. It was Palm Sunday yesterday. So does that mean for all the people who'd been fasting for Lent, it is now over? Or does it all end after the proper Easter? Does anyone know? When does the Lent fasting actually end? Palm Sunday is usually a big celebration. One American politician calling it Psalm Sunday. Even I know it's Palm Sunday. Welcome to the show. South Africans bracing themselves for a hard winter. This is all to do with the conflict in the Gulf. The price of fuel, the price of fertilizer, and therefore the price of food, all expected to go up. The president says he doesn't sleep. His finance minister has also had sleepless nights, crunching the numbers, trying to see where relief can be offered to already hard-pressed South Africans. We'll have a conversation about that with the chief economist of the Competition Commission, who are saying we're watching retailers and sellers for price gouging. Some of these guys may take this moment as an opportunity to score a quick buck. And the Competition Commission says we are watching you. Our big interview is a story that really comes almost out of Hollywood, if you will. The nexus between politicians, criminal cartels, and taxi bosses. You've heard the names: Vusumuzi Matlala, KT Mulife, Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni. What do these all have to do with what we've heard at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry? We're talking here murders, bribes, contract killings, tender fraud, drug trafficking, cross-border vehicle hijackings. And the people behind it seem protected by law enforcement and the politicians. Who becomes the next taxi boss of an association isn't something that is settled necessarily with votes. It would appear it's settled at times with bullets. People who've been longtime friends, mentors, allies, turn on each other. And it's happening in plain sight. We're going to be speaking to the investigative journalist at the Sunday Times, Sabelo Skiti, on the explosive story they wrote yesterday in the paper. I mean, if you read that story, it feels like a Tarantino type movie, right? People are at this restaurant, and then there's cell phone triangulation as people are making calls, and you follow the Ferrari and I'll follow the BMW, and there's a shootout outside the estate, and somebody else returns the fire, and this one provides protection. And these are restaurants and shopping centers that we all know. And it's happening right here in Johannesburg. And law enforcement is nowhere to be found. Have we become a mafia state?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
As always, it's a conversation, of course. It's not a soliloquy, so we appreciate your engagement on 072-702-1702. That's where you can send us a WhatsApp voice note. I always want to know if you're a first-time caller. And of course, 011-883-0702, if you want to speak directly to us, you can do that. As always, our mission is to tell you what's going on in the world, why it's important, and how it will impact you. We want you, as always, to be part of our informed community, and you are our eyes and ears all around 702 land. Hope everyone is feeling good, rearing to go. I'm not alone. As always, there's a team of producers behind the scenes. Baphelile and Siamtanda producing this morning. We've got KG and Karabo behind the scenes, the technical producer, and also, of course, our digital media producer. And Amuhelang Ramila, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongani. Morning, 702 Landers.
Was the weekend fantastic?
Oh, it really was. It was a beautiful weekend spent with family and friends, people that I haven't seen in a long time. So it was good to just reconnect. And good rest as well.
Yeah. Good rest is very important. Muteo, your weekend?
An eventful weekend, Bongani. So,
What happened?
yeah, all sorts of things happened. But there's a story I want to tell you around pricing, since you're talking about pricing. I was at the butcher on Saturday,
Yeah.
and we were all shopping there, and this lady picks up a very, very big fillet, and she walks up to the butcher and says, I know meat prices are up, but I think you guys, like jokingly, you guys have raised the prices too much now.
Yeah.
And he's very friendly. He's like, okay, let me have a look. Maybe we made a mistake. And he picks up the fillet and he looks at it and is like, oh, no, this is Wagyu, the Japanese beef. It's like, no, the price is right. It was just over 3,000 Rand for that fillet.
A piece, a fillet.
Well, the strip.
I mean,
yeah.
But so how much will the actual cow cost?
Well, you can only imagine. Can only imagine.
And
before he could even finish explaining, she was just like, ay.
Because my next question was, did she buy it?
No, of course not.
Goodness me. And I suppose that leads us very nicely to our shout out this morning. And I think it's pretty obvious why we're asking that question. How are you bracing yourself for what is coming, the doom of the price increases that are coming? Are you, for example, calculating, I don't know, that trip you are going to take, those lobola negotiations you are going to have, and what might be reasonable to ask or to receive? Maybe the trip to Uncle Joe's house back in the village every Easter or every June holiday, whatever it may be. Maybe that trip won't happen today. Maybe a renovation is not going to happen. That celebration might be put off for a while. Hey? That BBL, not all of us have senior ranking police boyfriends who can help us get those. What are you putting off because you're anticipating? What's your plan, in other words? Are you going to just wait until they say, your full tank is now, 1.5 instead of 1.2? What are you doing? Or, like many of us, are you just digging your head in the sand and hoping it's just going to go? Because that's what we did with COVID-19, right? We started, I had a vision 2020. Hey, when COVID happened, right? Amo, how are you preparing?
You know what? I think already we were preparing because we've had big decisions to make for the year 2026. So some of our finances had to already be cut because of those reasons. So because we're already on this phase, I mean, the school holidays, when we go out for vacation, family vacations have already been cut. Outings have already been cut, so I'm just like, I'm sure we're going to continue
What
as
else
we have
must
been.
be cut now?
Yeah.
Right? Muteo, have you had that conversation at home?
No, my wife does not want to have that conversation. We've discussed the whole Iran thing, and no, look, we had grand plans, obviously, for 2026.
Yeah.
South Africa was taking a huge turnaround last year, so okay, it frees up a bit of money. You promise each other these things you want to do. And I'm like, we might not be, and she
able
just,
to.
No.
I'm not ready to have that
Not
conversation.
having that conversation right now.
Is there someone who's listening to us right now who is typically frugal, right, in terms of how their money is spent, and this is your get out of jail card?
Do you see?
From perhaps a partner who may not share your inclinations in terms of how to spend money.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
It's a 6:15. You heard in Eyewitness News, Fiso Zulu saying the U.S. President Donald Trump says this month-long war in Iran has achieved regime change and that there is a deal on the cards. Of course, all of that has been refuted by Iranians. The Speaker of Iran's parliament accusing Washington of using diplomacy as a smokescreen after reports have surfaced that the U.S. is planning a ground attack. I think something like an estimated 50,000 troops are in the Gulf at the moment, or in the Middle East, or West Asia, as I now prefer to call it. About 3,500 Marines arriving just this weekend, and these are the officers that are believed to be able to have abilities to land easily and engage with their foes. So is the U.S. speaking with a forked tongue here? The other thing that we need to think about, of course, is what are we going to do with Grandpa Trump? Do you know what I mean? At what point does someone say he's not all there? I don't know if you've had that relative, that uncle in your family where everybody knows at every family event, he is going to offend someone. Because, it's tickets. When does someone tap the shoulder? So on Friday, he was at a future investment summit in Miami, in Florida, on Friday. And he was talking about the war, and he got so excited. At one point, it felt like it was a child describing his favorite toys. Have a listen.
You have to see it. It's very cool. Missiles launched, missiles launched, missiles launching. They're launching. Okay, we're ready. 101 missiles coming at them. All right, we have to have like 11 seconds to make a determination. Then at 7 seconds, fire, fire, fire. It's the most unbelievable thing. Fire, boom, fire, boom. One at a time, just knocked them out like they were nothing. Genius. It's like unbelievable.
Fire, boom, fire, boom. Do you see what I mean when I say it's like you're dealing with a child? Estimates are in their thousands in terms of the number of Iranians who have died in the last 4 weeks. What makes him not connect to that number? The number of children that have died in preschools, at their schools, the number of universities that have been targeted, the hospitals. I mean, it's Gaza all over again, is it not? And I'm not for a second suggesting that the Iranian clerics, the mullahs, are the most, the nicest uncles they ever were. But to then use what presumably even from a US point of view would be a regrettable war to describe it as fire, boom, fire, boom. But he wasn't done. Saudi Arabia is one of America's key allies in that region. There's a lot of rivalry between the Iranians and the Saudis. And of course, Saudi Arabia underpins the whole market in terms of how oil is sold, right? The petrodollar discussion. Oil sold in dollars, and therefore the US prints because they know somebody always wants dollars to be able to buy the oil. Crucial in that whole arrangement is the leadership of Saudi Arabia. The crown prince is the effective leader, the de facto leader, because the father, who is the king, he's got on in years. So Prince Mohammed bin Salman is now really the guy in charge. Listen to what Donald Trump had to say about a key ally, the leader of Saudi Arabia.
That we just discussed, the king, the future king of Saudi Arabia. And I also love the king of Saudi Arabia. What a man he is. When I was there, we bonded. He would grab me to get up. He was a little frail at the time, and this was a long time ago, and he's still doing well. And he'd grab my arm to get up when I was sitting next to him. And they said that's the only time he's ever grabbed anybody. He would grab me all the time. And I said, I think he likes me. And he did like me, and he still likes me. And he's a great man, and say hello to him. He's a great guy with a great son. But a short time ago, we were together, and he looked at me and he said, it's amazing. 1 year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. He didn't think this was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser, where the country was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me. You tell him he better be nice to me. He's got to be.
So in that controversial speech, he makes a derogatory comment. It's a slur, really, and obviously we had to bleep it out. He says this guy didn't think he'd have to kiss my abs, except it isn't abs. He's referring to something somewhere else on the anatomy. Muteo, you lived in Turkey for a while. How does something like this play out in a region where leaders have to be seen as strong men? Think of the Turkish president. Think of even the King of Jordan. Think certainly of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. How does a slur like that play out?
Well, there you don't openly criticize, it's frowned upon, really. And some people, even fellow journalists, will tell you, okay, don't take it there. Because, of course, leaders are revered, but also quite protected. So the criticism is not as open as you would have in South Africa, right? I mean, I think back to the story in 2018, Jamal Khashoggi, who was killed in at
the consulate.
Istanbul consulate, told he must come and collect some marriage certificates and documents. That's how he was lured in there. A 15-man operation. He's taken down. Basically,
and who had he criticized?
The leader of Saudi Arabia, and that's just the lengths that type of leadership will go to.
And it is also, and it's very common in many parts of Asia, not just West Asia, the idea of saving face, the idea of never humiliating your opponent, much less your ally. Yeah, maybe it's just Trump misspeaking, or maybe somebody needs to tap Grandpa's shoulder.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Patel, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning, do you have a second stream of income? Have you started a business before? Something you thought, oh, I can do that. Did it work out for you? Is it now a second stream of income, or did you face some challenges and you had to close the business?
Yeah, I think the idea of business for me always sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But with the schedule that I have, it
Time.
just, yeah, no. You know,
so
I'm still hoping. There's a little thing I'm working on.
Okay.
But it's still very much in its nascence. I want to take over a publication, an online publication that focuses particularly on queer life and queer stories.
Okay.
But the time.
Definitely the time is actually what stalls me, because I used to do this traffic anchoring and then I would produce, but the time is just so much.
Time to work on your own thing, yeah.
Yes, and also the kids, I'm so involved with my children, and, we don't have help at the currently. So that also is just another challenge on its own.
And my husband.
So have you started a business?
702.
Weather.
Johannesburg peaking at 27 degrees today, starting at 15. It's the same high for Vereniging. Pretoria will max out at 30 degrees. Cape Town, 15 and 25. Mahikeng, 16 and 29. Gqeberha peaks at 23. East London, 25. Durban, 20 and 28.
EWN Traffic.
First look at the roads on this Monday. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we're off to a very busy start. We've got delays on the N3 North between the Yelans Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the Mike 1 North between Boysons Road and Carr Street. While traveling towards Boksburg, do you expect delays on the N12 East? An accident right after Croft Road already causing some issues there. I'll have more updates, but if you come across anything else, we are on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
24 minutes after 6 o'clock, we're asking you a very simple question. As South Africa prepares for rising prices, whether it's food or fuel, how are you bracing yourself? What conversations have you started having? Do you know you ought to be having around what is to come? There are already reports, of course, this morning of a number of service stations, particularly along the R59, now introducing some limits, despite government insisting there's no fuel shortage at the moment. But there are growing concerns over significant price hikes as the global uncertainty linked to what's unfolding in the Middle East continues. And it's in that vein then I just played you a clip of the US President Donald Trump sparking controversy after mocking the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman during a speech. And of course that slur has quickly gone viral, and I suppose it'll show the shifting dynamics in the US-Saudi relationship during a critical time in the Middle East. And then a really, really sad story for us. 5 suspects arrested in connection with the kidnapping and murder of Stephen Grues, who is a respected voice in governance and diplomacy at the South African Institute of International Affairs. He's somebody we have spoken to quite often. In fact, we had a geopolitical discussion and around the expected price increases not 2 weeks ago. Not 2 weeks ago, he was on the show and we interviewed Stephen Grues. It's understood he was found dead on Friday after being abducted for ransom, having been seen last at a meeting in Johannesburg the night before. And of course, it's the kind of death that will send shockwaves through the city, but also the policy and academic community. Residents in Joburg being advised that cremation services will be suspended over the Easter weekend. So not on Good Friday and not on Easter Monday. Those services won't be available. This is a message from Joburg City Parks and Zoo. They, of course, are the official municipal entity responsible for managing cemeteries and crematoria in the city of Johannesburg. Back like he never left. Suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu making a dramatic comeback, at least to the African National Congress National Executive Committee. He had stepped aside in November amid serious allegations of interference in police investigations and alleged collusion with criminal syndicates. But now he's back as a full-on MEC member, campaigning for the party, being one of the faces of the ANC as we head towards this local government election. Does that tell you everything you need to know about the party of black, green and gold? And the queen of power ballads, born Celine Marie Claudette Dion. She celebrates her 58th birthday today, born on this day in 1968. How many hits has she given us? My Heart Will Go On, All By Myself, Because You Loved Me, It's All Coming Back to Me Now, and The Power of Love.
'Cause I'm your lady, and you are my man. Whenever you reach for me, I'll do all that I can.
702.
The newspapers.
Let's go to the newspapers. Sfiso Zulu. So I remember knowing a friend, she was a friend in those days, and she used to think that Celine Dion says, because you're my latest.
Oh.
And I'm your man.
Oh. Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. What's in the newspaper?
I'll tell you what, if you are planning on traveling to Hong Kong, there's a warning for you. The Hong Kong's Airport Authority has introduced new restrictions on passengers carrying power banks, and they're limiting travelers to no more than 2 devices each. So you can carry 1 power bank, not more than 2. And the rule applies to all departures from Hong Kong International Airport. And they're doing this because of global aviation safety standards amid growing concerns over lithium battery risks. This decision follows recent incidents, actually, including a fire on a Hong Kong train and another on-board a flight, both linked to power banks.
Gosh, the front page of the Business Day, fertilizer and fuel, threat to food supply, says the Business Day. Shield citizen from fuel hikes. Ramaphosa to cabinet, says the Sowetan. The story on the front page of the Citizen really bears a look at, and it's a picture of a suburb in Ferndale, Randburg, essentially being slummified. How do you deal with a neighborhood going down right around you? You love your home. It's near where all the ticks are there. But around you, the neighborhood is becoming slummified. What do you do? They've got hijacked homes. There's one home is now trapped between shacks and a brothel. There's a bird sanctuary that's been overrun by squatters and recyclers after a fence was left unrepaired. And residents are accusing Joburg officials for failing to enforce bylaws. I mean, what do you do if the next door neighbor starts splitting up their house and creating individual rooms for rental, and suddenly where there used to be 4 people coming in and out of that yard, there are 20, 25. Where do you even begin? Where do you even begin to deal with the slummification of your neighborhood?
EWN Business.
Mateo wants to know, have you considered running a business, second job, an extra stream of income? What have you learned? What prompts the question?
Bongani, business closures in South Africa rose sharply in February 2026, increasing by 40% compared to January. Now, according to the latest liquidation numbers from Stats SA, the country recorded 135 closures in February, up from 96 in the first month of the year. Now, liquidation is a process by which a company's assets are sold off to settle its outstanding debts before the company is dissolved. Now, the going has been quite tough for businesses in South Africa as the economy grows slowly, with under pressure consumers holding back spending and water and electricity prices going up. Most of the February closures happened in the trade, catering and accommodation sector. Compared to February last year, though, closures were actually slightly lower. Overall figures for the start of the year also show a small improvement. But business closures remain a concern. More than 1,500 South African businesses closed down in 2025.
Gosh, what are your indicators? What's the latest. Give us our latest.
Well, the rand is in the red.
You are our man.
17 rand 12 cents against the US dollar, 19 rand 72 against the euro, and 22 rand 73 against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,490 an ounce, while platinum is up 3.5% at $1,914. Brent crude at $114 a barrel. More business after 7.
Time now for your latest Eyewitness News. Straight to the news desk. Sviso Zulu, what you got?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The Border Management Authority says it is operating with just 25% of the resources it needs ahead of the Easter period. The authority has highlighted limited staffing and equipment, including 4 drones to monitor all 71 ports of entry. Parts of the measures taken include uniquely numbered passport stamps aimed at tracking officials and reducing fraud. BMA Commissioner Michael Masiapato says they will rely on coordinated law enforcement operations and increased oversight for effective monitoring.
BMA is sitting at around just below 2,600 individuals in the ecosystem. We have emphasized that according to the structure, we are meant to be around 11,200. So there's basically more than 8,500 people short who are supposed to come through.
2 people have been hospitalized following a shooting near Alberton on the East Rand. The attack caused traffic disruptions along the busy N12 route yesterday, and 1 person died in that shooting, and police recovered high-caliber ammunition at the scene. Gauteng Police spokesperson Dinswalo Sibeko.
Police are investigating a case of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. No suspects have been arrested at this stage, and the motive for the incident is unknown. Police investigations are ongoing.
In KwaZulu-Natal, the government there has highlighted investor confidence as one of the reasons to bring Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi back as the province's police head. National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola announced over the weekend that Mkhwanazi's renewed 5-year term will start this week. Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli says investors will have a sense of protection in the province.
We know his leadership in the province of KwaZulu-Natal has inspired investor confidence. Hence, it was quite very important, even for the ordinary citizens. They have confidence over the work of the police.
Ntuli adds that Mkhwanazi will continue with criminal fighting efforts in the province.
I think now we are quite comfortable as the people of KwaZulu-Natal that the war against crime in KwaZulu-Natal is going to gain strength from strength.
And US President Donald Trump says the month-long US-Israeli war against Iran has achieved regime change and there's a deal on the cards. Trump says Iranian leaders have been killed and the new leadership is much more reasonable. But the Speaker of Iran's parliament has accused Washington of using diplomacy as a smokescreen after reports the US is planning a ground attack. Trump spoke to reporters on his Air Force One.
I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't. But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 30.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 East. An accident reported right after Craft Road, causing some issues there. There's also queuing traffic, in fact, bumper to bumper between the Airlines Interchange and Van Buren Road due to peak time delays.
The top story this hour, the BMA says it is operating with reduced resources it needs ahead of the Easter period.
Part of the 702 family.
My name is Ephraim Morobela. I'm from Midrand. I'm one of the 702 listeners. What I enjoy is different people's perspectives as well as presenters who give a different perspective with regard to what is happening all over the world.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
In business, the right connections change everything. It's the stability you need for that once-in-a-lifetime virtual pitch, the lightning-fast speeds that keep you ahead of deadlines, and the consistent, high-quality signal your teams rely on every day. Because when your connectivity works seamlessly, so does your business. Power your workday with fast, reliable fiber from OpenServe, built to keep your operations running at full speed. Visit openserve.co.za today to learn more. T's and C's apply.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Joburg, Pretoria. This is Miss Jill Scott, and I am coming to see you.
Join three-time Grammy Award winner Jill Scott for her To Whom This May Concern tour, performing classics like Golden, The Way, and new hits Pressure, Beautiful People, and more. 7 November at the Sunbet Arena, Times Square. Book now at ticketmaster.co.za. Jill Scott, in association with Showtime Management at 702.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. So you send us an answer based on something you heard in the show that piqued your interest. WhatsApp us your name and that answer to 072 702 1702. We'll give you $1,000. Then later, someone else will ask a question to get to your answer, and they will win 2,000 Rand. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So do it now. SMS out to 45142, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, good morning, Bongani. When you talk about Trump and comparing him to being that uncle that embarrasses the family, I think the Americans are aware, the Trump administration is aware, and you can tell that by the number of cognitive tests that he has been given. It's almost a monthly thing now with Trump that he gets a cognitive test. This is unusual, and from what I've seen from the medical experts who've been asked on this is only done when you feel that somebody is in cognitive decline. And the reason why they will not really act on it and they just keep testing him to see the decline is that apparently he's also surrounded by people who are afraid to tell him the truth.
Well, I don't know if he takes them as regularly as you suggest there, but certainly over 3,000 protest events were planned for this past weekend. They're calling it the No Kings protest, as in they're seeing him as somebody who's trying to govern like he's a monarch, and Americans are saying, no, thank you. They don't want him to be a king. But just based on those clips that I played you, and he's going bombs, kaboom, it's increasingly to me sounding like a child, right? The way a child might boast about their toys, but of course his toys are deadly weapons and they're killing thousands.
Good morning, Bongani. I'm phoning from the West Rand. You're talking about retailers that are increasing their prices. The security companies are doing exactly the same. I got a message from EC saying that they will increase their premiums from the 1st of April. And I just think that all of this is wrong because all of us are going through the same stuff and everything is increasing for the consumer. So how is all of this going to be regulated?
Well, it may well have been a scheduled increase. I mean, it is that time of the year. So for many, the price of it, a lot of things, that's all going to go up from the 1st of April. It could be your medical aid. You're mentioning private security. The cost of a lot of things will go up from the 1st of April. We'll be chatting to the Competition Commission about exactly that. They're saying, look, there will be things that need to go up for all the reasons that are obvious, but when retailers or companies try to take advantage of the moment and price gouge, they're keeping an eye on that.
Good morning, team. I hope you're well.
Yes, I have a second stream of income. I do have a 95, but then also my car's on Uber. I don't do both. I don't do in-drive, nothing else but Uber. It's a lot of work, but it helps at the end of the day. Yeah.
EWN Sport.
That was a question prompted by Muteo. Business closures in South Africa 40% up in the month of February compared to January. A lot of people struggling. I was impressed. Cindy Paluta, very good morning to you as we now step into the world of sport. I was impressed by Bafana Bafana on Friday night.
Yeah.
They didn't struggle.
Okay.
I thought they showed a lot of determination in how they played, and I think the result perhaps doesn't reflect just how much they tried.
Isn't that always the case in football? Sometimes you can watch a game where you're just like, geez, we really deserve to win this one. But the good news is that tomorrow night they'll be playing in front of a packed, sold-out stadium in Cape Town. So hopefully that will be the boost that they need. And as you say, they played to a 1-1 draw on Friday. Coach Hugo Bross gave Ocon his debut in a partnership with Ndamane.
Both players in the center of the defense played a very good game. Ndamane had a few very good passes, certainly the second half. With his pass, he put players nearly alone in front of the keeper. And this is something what I wanted to see. I told him before the game that I wanted to see again. And Ndamane determined, and Ndamane was concentrated, had a focus on the game.
Tottenham Hotspur parted ways with manager Igor Tudor after just 7 games in charge, of which he lost 5 of those. Spurs are 1 point above relegation. CAF General Secretary Veron Mosenga-Omba resigned following controversy over Senegal being stripped of the AFCON title in a last-minute postponement of the women's tournament. These issues have sparked a broader crisis of confidence within CAF. Mosenga-Omba said he leaves with peace of mind after addressing suspicions against him. He faced criticism over his tenure length and workplace culture, though an investigation cleared him. In cricket, the Titans are one-day cup champs. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets in the second last ball thanks to Keegan Peterson's 90 off 134 and Dwayne Janssen's run a ball 61. While the Proteas women went 1-0 up in the 3-match ODI series. They beat New Zealand by 2 wickets in the last ball. Kaká took a career best 6 for 56, and then Kayla Reiniger on debut smashed a 6 in the last ball to get the win. Second ODI is on Wednesday. In the IPL, Ryan Rickleton with an 81 as the Mumbai Indians beat the Kolkata Knight Riders by 6 wickets. In the United Rugby Championship, a successive clean sweep for the South African teams. They all won, so the Stormers stay second, the Lions are 5th, the Bulls are 8th, and the Sharks are 10th. On the racetrack, Kimi Antonelli is now the youngest ever driver in history to lead the championship. He's 9 points ahead of George Russell. Antonelli won in Japan ahead of Piastri, Leclerc, Russell, and Norris. And in the MotoGP, Bezzecchi getting a 3rd consecutive Grand Prix win to stay top of the riders' standings, winning ahead of Martina Acosta. Defending champion Marc Marquez finished in 5th. South African Brad Binder finished in 12th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
702 Drive with John Perlman.
My show is about keeping our listeners company in the last part of the day in the most interesting and entertaining way that we possibly can. So the crucial thing for us is we've got to provide them with a mix. The news, yes, the big stories, of course, but we've got to talk about other things that make them laugh, make them think about things they've never thought about, and most important, that invite them to have a conversation with us. What I love about the 702 family and 702 land. First of all, I should just say people never stop surprising me. And the thing that is perhaps the thing I love the most is people manage to find things that make them laugh. And they don't laugh from a place of ridicule. They laugh from a place of deep humanity, because our ability to laugh has got us through so much over these many decades, and we're going to need it plenty in the decades to come.
702 Drive with John Perlman. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
Without insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like hitting every green robot on your way to work. 35-year-old Zanai saves a whopping 1,180 Rand on her 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, you can ask them for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Every Easter, alcohol accelerates harms for families in South Africa. Our roads become deadly. Alcohol fuels violence and destroys our communities. This Easter, let's reduce the harms caused by alcohol. Increase excise tax above inflation. Excise tax is protection. For more information, follow the true cost of alcohol.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hello, my name is Ndando. I'm 13 years old and I go to Crawford College International Sandton. When I grow up, I want to be a quantitative trader. And I'm very excited to play with Uncle Bongani.
Ooh, Ndando, I want to know, what's a quantitative trader? Right? Do you know, Amo? Ndando will tell us.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
By the way, we are streaming on our YouTube channel, so you can watch us live in terms of what's happening in the studio. On the N12 East, there's a crash, and this EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amma, what's going on?
Well, Bongani, on the N12, as you say, it's an accident reported right near Craft Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. If you're traveling on the N12 West, there's another accident scene reported right near Atlas Road. It's also slowing down traffic from Snake Road. So in the Boksburg area, N12 is experiencing a lot of problems. If you are traveling on the N3 North, we've got delays between either Yelands Interchange and Van Buren Road. Now that's due to peak time delays. There's also peak time pressure reported on the Mike 1 North between Boysons Road and Empire Road. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
So you know that feeling when someone lets you cut in during peak traffic? Well, that's how good it feels to see Outsurance pointsmen on your route. Everyone feels the difference when they are on the roads. They've been easing traffic congestion, so everyone gets to where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the
Good
talk.
morning, Bongs and the team. You know, I live in Ferndale, and I will not lie to you. There are very weird things happening this side. Like, you know, literally opposite our place, there's this place where you can see it's very dodgy. Doesn't have to be dodge, and the people that come out there, it's very, very weird. I do want to report it, but I don't know who to report to. Then there's this man who always sells, you know, 750 mils black labels from his car. There's people drinking like it's a shebeen at the corner. It's on West, just by the way, on corner West and Oxford in Ferndale. Just letting you know.
Well, we're talking about a story in The Citizen today, war against slumification. Residents accusing authorities of turning a blind eye to Ferndale's collapse. They've got a picture of a house that was hijacked, another one occupied by recyclers, homeowners trapped between shacks and brothels, and apparently the municipality is not doing very much about it. How do you fight the slumification of your neighborhood?
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Up next, we speak to the chief economist of the Competition Commission. But in the meantime, let's have another competition. Ndando is 13 years old, goes to Crawford Sandton, wants to be a quantitative trader when he is older. Ndando, what is a quantitative trader?
Oh, so a quantitative trader is just somebody that looks or makes trade markets for big businesses and goes on trade markets.
Oh, wow. Sounds very impressive. What's also impressive, I'm told, is your 8 out of 10 in the test round for the Whiz Quiz. So let's see if you can get 10 out of 10 today, hey?
Yes, definitely.
Feeling confident?
Yes, definitely.
All right. KG, let's trade. What sport does the PSL organize in South Africa?
Football.
Correct. Complete the saying, it is a what in a teacup?
Skip.
Storm. True or false? An igloo is a house built with blocks of snow.
True.
Correct. What is the name of a group of porcupines? Is it a prickle or a cluster?
A prickle.
Correct. What is the third vowel of the alphabet?
I.
Correct. What kind of bird is Mumble in the Happy Feet movies?
Penguin.
Correct. On which side of the road do people drive in Great Britain?
Left.
Correct. Which computer company produces the Windows operating system? Is it Apple or Microsoft?
Microsoft.
Correct. True or false? The octopus has 3 hearts.
True.
Correct. Spell the word stapler.
Stapler.
Correct. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Ntando. Only one getting you there. That is the storm in a teacup. The storm in a teacup. But I tell you what, you did better than your test round. You walk away with 900 Rand. 900 Rand. Very, very impressed with Ntando from Crawford Santon. If you're age 10 to 13, you could win 10,000 Rand. One more answer in 60 seconds and he would have had 10,000 Rand.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
We're asking you a very simple question this morning. How are you bracing yourself for the upcoming or the expected hard winter? President Ramaphosa at the weekend saying he has not been sleeping very much, nor has his finance minister, Enoch Godongwana, who is, of course, crunching the numbers to see what relief he can offer hard-pressed South Africans ahead of expected increases in the price of just about everything, principally fuel, fertilizer, and that means food. And how will consumers know that the new prices are solely due to the latest crisis? What about those businesses who may now see an opportunity to make a quick buck? The Competition Commission has come out warning unscrupulous retailers not to take advantage of the crisis and to hike prices unduly. We're joined now by James Hodge, who, as I say, is the chief economist of the Competition Commission. James, a very good morning to you and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Thank you, Bongani.
How badly are we going to be hit?
Well, the price increase is quite a big shock. So it's, I think today it's over $110 a barrel. So almost double the price that we saw probably a few months ago. So we do expect that it is going to be a hard hit. And as you rightly pointed out, it's not just the fuel and the services that rely on the fuel, but probably fertilizers, plastics, and food products that are intensive users of oil-based products.
I mean, can you distinguish between a legitimate price increase and outright price gouging?
Well, we can investigate and determine that, but for the consumer, it's very difficult because you're going to expect a price increase because you know oil has gone up, but you don't know what's a reasonable amount by which the price should increase and when it should happen. And that's the problem. So businesses, unscrupulous ones certainly, can overexploit the consumer and push up prices earlier before their costs actually go up or by much more than their actual costs have gone up. And that's what we're trying to stop happening because, as you rightly said, the president, the finance minister are concerned about this. It's a big impact on the economy, and we don't want it exacerbated by businesses trying to exploit the situation.
I'd imagine, James, a rule of thumb for the average consumer is to compare prices and, of course, hope there's no collusion.
Yeah, and they can report to us if they feel that this increase has been far too quick or far too rapid. And we saw last week consumers did react to prices at the pump for diesel and expressing their concern. And active consumers is what's going to stop this happening. And consumers that then also shop around.
So how rapidly can we expect these increases to filter to things like food or transport, for example?
Well, the prices at the pump are going to go up this week, and although the diesel price is regulated at the wholesale level, it's not regulated at the retail level. So we should still not expect increases before the Wednesday announcements. But after that, some prices may go up very quickly at the pump. They will go up immediately. But in others, we wouldn't expect them to go up immediately. For things like fertilizer, there's adequate stocks of fertilizer at the old price that should be still made available at the old price until that filters through to the new stocks. And with food, I think it's a longer term sort of impact, because that may be months away for some of the food products, only once fertilizer prices go up and transport costs go up.
All right, so you're not saying now go fill up your cupboards and stock up as much as you can because food will go up on Wednesday. That's not the scenario. Certainly fuel will.
Certainly fuel will, but if some of the food products go up on Wednesday, we would expect that is jumping the gun and price gouging, and we would then investigate. And we're asking consumers to just be watchful and report to us so that we can investigate, and if businesses are engaged in price gouging, then we will take action. And in effect, what we ask of businesses is don't push up prices before your actual costs increase. And then when your costs do increase from fuel, only put it up by the same amount your costs have increased so that your margins stay the same. If your margins go up, we're going to accuse you of price gouging.
Is that something you encounter regularly in South Africa in terms of our landscape?
We have seen this in the past. So in the past, we've seen with oil price increases, we've seen collusion amongst airlines around fuel surcharges. In COVID and with the Ukraine war, we saw businesses jumping the gun. And that's where we do now have case precedent, legal precedent around what businesses should do and what they should not do. And that's why we are saying that the courts have found in the past that if you've jumped the gun and pushed up prices before your costs increase, they will find you guilty. And if you push up prices by far more than your costs, they will also find you guilty. So we have seen this. It's not necessarily widespread, but there will be businesses that try their luck.
Right. So what can you do? Initiate litigation?
Yes. So if consumers complain to us, we will investigate the business. We will ask them for what their prices were prior to this shock, what their prices are afterwards, what their margins are. And if they are increasing the margins, if they are price gouging, we will take action.
So I suppose your job is to just alert consumers to be watchful, but also to let them know you're watching the system closely. Finally, of course, we have no idea when this will all end. There's now some speculation that there might be ground troops invading Iran or trying to. So that means the volatility of the price of oil may continue. What's the bigger risk to the economy, I suppose, on a medium, even long-term basis?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of uncertainty, but we can also see that prices come down if the war ends soon and stability comes to the oil price markets. And that's where we've seen in the past as well that businesses are slow to then drop their prices. And that is still price gouging if your costs have actually decreased and you haven't reduced your prices. So I think the risk for us is obviously that this is prolonged and the economic impact on the global economy and not just the local economy means that we see a reduced demand, reduced growth. But we also face risks that it is resolved, but that cost is still built into prices and doesn't come down.
All right, appreciate your time. James Hodge is the Chief Economist of the Competition Commission of South Africa. So anybody who tells you that prices will go up from Wednesday already is likely jumping the gun. But we've all got to do our homework and, keep the retailers and businesses on their toes. Compare prices. Consider what things cost now and just over the next few weeks, continue monitoring whether or not they jump severely and by how much those increases might be. But the Competition Commission also saying it's keeping an eye on things.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
Drug trafficking, tender fraud, kidnappings, contract killings, cross-border vehicle hijackings. Up next, we bring you a story on the nexus of taxi bosses, politicians, and criminal cartels. Are we a mafia state?
This is EWN.
Anxiety over possible significant fuel increases, and the ANC mulls over its elective conference woes in the Eastern Cape. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Fear and uncertainty are beginning to surface at some petrol stations in Johannesburg, despite government insisting there's no fuel shortage. EWN visited some petrol stations along the R59, which have started limiting diesel sales. Customers are only allowed to purchase up to 30 litres. The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources maintains there is no crisis, and it has urged motorists not to panic buy. Mongezi Koko paid a visit to some stations and filed this report.
Government warns panic buying could place unnecessary pressure on fuel supply. Now on the ground, the mood is noticeably tense, with some motorists queuing earlier than usual for fear of looming price hikes and possible supply constraints linked to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Petrol attendants, speaking off the record, say limits on diesel are being enforced in response to increased demand, with some customers attempting to fill multiple containers. Consumers who spoke to EWN say they are uncertain about what lies ahead, even as government continues to reassure the public that South Africa has sufficient fuel stocks and that no disaster is imminent.
I tried filling up my Land Cruiser, but I was told that there's a cap, 30 liters, and the government is saying there's no problem, but clearly we are the ones who are experiencing this downside.
Authorities say a hysteria at the pumps could create the very problem motorists are trying to avoid. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The Eastern Cape's ANC leadership will meet with the party's national officials today to take stock of a postponed provincial conference. Leader Oscar Mabuyane also says the gathering could reconvene as early as next month. A group of disgruntled members were granted an interim interdict to stop the conference from proceeding until it resolves its internal disputes over branches. Babalondenze takes a look.
Oscar Mabuyane says they will meet the party's national officials today to hold face-to-face discussions with the party's top leadership over the failed conference. Mabuyane told delegates at the weekend that the court interdict was not of their own making and they've done everything right.
We are going to the national leadership. We've spoken to the national leadership. They are also keen because they want us to find a collective solution on this particular matter moving forward.
He says the court instructed the party to resolve its internal disputes before moving ahead, and this could happen as early as next month.
This conference is going to sit, comrades. It must sit before the end of April.
Provincial Secretary Lulama Tobi, meanwhile, was forced to reject a letter announcing his resignation, calling it fake news. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News, Kukombo in the Eastern Cape.
Convicted fraudster and inmate Jermaine Prim is due back in the Palm Ridge Commercial Crimes Court today for sentencing. Prim drew widespread attention over the weekend after a television interview featuring him aired on Saturday. During the telephonic interview, he made a series of allegations against Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie, including claims linking him to the drug underworld. The Department of Correctional Services has since launched an investigation saying the unauthorized interview may point to a breach of internal controls. Kosikona Malingamnisi reports.
Jermaine Prim's fraud conviction relates to a 2018 case separate from 4 others yet to be finalized. Prim was arrested nearly 8 years ago while on parole. His parole was then revoked by Correctional Services after he violated his parole conditions. Minister Gayton McKenzie has denied all allegations, including claims he helped facilitate Prim's access to communication. McKenzie says he has never met Prim in person, adding that he contacted him in 2022 offering marketing assistance for the Patriotic Alliance. He says he believed him to be a member of the public, not an inmate. Meanwhile, Prim's name also surfaced at Parliament's SAPS ad hoc committee earlier this month. In a letter, he claimed he shared a cell with alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Kat Matlala and discussed serious matters with him. Prim further alleged he has a voice recording linking McKenzie to drug dealers and illicit funds. Eyewitness News.
And Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says that 9 people have been killed in Israeli strikes in the south of the Palestinian territory. AFP images showed bodies being transported from the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis, then laid out on the ground wrapped in white shrouds. Israel and Hamas continue to accuse each other of violating the ceasefire in place since October 10 that largely halted 2 years of war in the territory. Israel has continued to strike Gaza, killing at least 702 Palestinians since the start of the ceasefire. Israel says 5 of its soldiers have been killed since the start of the truce. Gold is trading at $4,490.13 an ounce. The rand is at 17.12 to the dollar, 22.72 to the pound, 19.72 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $115.32 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is between Madibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to peak time delays there. There's also peak time pressure piling up on the Mark 1 North between Boysons Road and Empire Road exit.
And in your sport, Tottenham Hotspur start the search for a new manager after axing Igor Tudor after just 7 games in charge. Titans are one-day cup champions. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets. Yannick Sinner wins the Miami Open to complete a sunshine double. And Max Verstappen thinking of quitting F1 at the end of the season.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg is at a low of 15 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 16 and 30. Vereeniging 13 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: fear and uncertainty are beginning to surface at some petrol stations in Johannesburg, despite government insisting there's no fuel shortage.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I think certainly most motorists are going to make sure they fill up before Wednesday because, of course, of that anticipated fuel hike. What it will look like in the final analysis is not yet clear, but certainly people will make sure that they've got full tanks between today and tomorrow ahead of Wednesday. As far as food and the price of everything else is concerned, we just spoke to the Competition Commission and they're saying, look, it won't be quite by Wednesday. From Wednesday, it might take a little while, but we've all got to be vigilant and make sure we're comparing prices to look for the best deals. And maybe we're going to have to change even what we put on our plates in the coming months. I'm glad to tell you, sense prevailed in the Eastern Cape as far as the ANC leadership in that province. You remember, they'd been interdicted from continuing with a provincial conference, and as at Friday morning, they said they were going to go ahead anyway because they'd lodged an appeal. Subsequently, then, of course, there was another application, this time a contempt of court application, and that, of course, is what led to the postponement, because on Saturday they realized that perhaps they're not the party that should be seen to be against the rule of law, even as they were claiming to be. But divisions still continue there. No doubt that situation not going to be resolved very quickly.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
An awful story that shocked me certainly was the arrest of 5 suspects in connection with the kidnapping and murder of Stephen Gruze, who's a respected voice in governance and diplomacy, worked for the South African Institute of International Affairs. And he was somebody we've often called on to explain particularly the geopolitical situation we are facing and what that might mean for our economy and ultimately for our wallets, right? For the food we plate on our tables. Gruze was tragically found dead on Friday. He was apparently abducted for ransom, having been last seen leaving a meeting in Johannesburg the night before. His death, as you could imagine, has sent shockwaves through policy and academic circles. Authorities having moved swiftly, though, to try and bring those alleged to be responsible to justice. And if you don't know who Steve Gruze is and you don't remember him, we spoke to him just the other day on, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we spoke to him at the South African Institute of International Affairs. We were asking him about how the rising global conflict could impact our fragile economy, and his answer is still relevant. I mean, I could have asked him this question today, and he probably would have given me the same answer. Steve, there was never any doubt that the United States is indeed the most powerful nation in the world, and that not many can counter its actions on the global stage. But gosh, would you have thought that almost all the nations would simply look away? That won't help anyone, will it?
Well, you're right. The U.S. is extremely powerful, and Mr. Trump has been using that power. We saw it at the beginning of the year with the abduction of Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela. We live in a system of states where we do have the United Nations, but at the end of the day, if one of these states is going to take aggressive actions, be it the United States or Russia, both of which have a veto in the Security Council, what can the other countries do? They can condemn and they can make statements, but really, short of putting troops on the ground and opposing America or Russia, which isn't likely, there isn't much that they can do.
We spoke to him on the 19th of March, and that's the answer he gave. And of course, as I say, he disappeared this past Thursday, the 27th of March, and his body was discovered 2 days later. 5 people have since been arrested. It's just one of those tragic Joburg stories, isn't it?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Things you need to know at this hour. Vote of confidence in KZN's top cop. The leadership of KwaZulu-Natal's police has given the green light for Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to continue as the province's police commissioner. His contract has officially been renewed, securing him another 5-year term. Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets this past weekend for the No Kings rallies. These are ordinary folks in America voicing their frustration with their president, Donald Trump. Crowds gathered in major cities like Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and even in London and Paris, where demonstrators voiced their opposition to the war in Iran. The White House spokesperson has called these protests part of Trump derangement syndrome, and she says they need Trump derangement therapy sessions. Today marks World Bipolar Day, a global day that seeks to raise awareness, to encourage open conversations and break down the stigma surrounding bipolar disorder, while fostering greater understanding and support for those living with the condition. I told you earlier that the suspended police minister, Senzo Mchunu, has made a dramatic return to at least ANC politics. He stepped aside in November amid those serious allegations. All sorts of things, of course, alleged interference in police investigations, collusion with criminal syndicates, the dismantling of a task team. Well, he's back campaigning now for the ANC, and I suppose it tells you more or less everything you need to know about the party of green, black, and gold. It's Celine Dion's birthday. It is also the birthday of another singer-songwriter, Tracy Chapman. Turns 62 today, born on this day in 1964.
You get a fast car, I want a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal, maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better, starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. You get a fast car, I got a plan to get us out of here. Been working at the convenience store, managed to save just a little bit of money. Won't have to drive too far, just cross the border and into the city. You and I can both get jobs and finally see what it means to be living.
Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
The big interview focuses on the mafia state and the criminal underworld and shadowy figures that are committing their evil deeds in plain sight, and nobody's stopping them, are they? All that to come after this Eyewitness News. Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. There are delays in Bromfontein. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. A major accident seen along Smith Street. It's right near the M1 bridge. It's causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. Already we've got people that are navigating their way around the scene by using Enoch Sontonga Avenue. So please be on the lookout there as well. If you're traveling on the Mike 1 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic between Boyson's Road and Empire Road. If you're traveling in Sandton, traffic lights are out of order at Grayston Drive and the M1. They're also out in Midrand at the N1 South and Oliphantfontein Road. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
With Outsurance, saving on your car insurance feels like finding a till with no queue on payday weekend. 27-year-old Lynn saves a mind-blowing 638 Rand on her 2025 Haval Jolion. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
17 after 7. Taxi bosses, politicians, and criminal cartels are being connected in a violent nexus of attempted murders, bribes, and violence. Yesterday, the Sunday Times reporting of a power struggle amongst Gauteng taxi shadow world figures vying for control of the Big Five cartel, whose criminal tentacles reach across the country. Already, of course, the Madlanga Commission has been told of this network of that's deeply involved in drug trafficking, tender fraud, kidnappings, contract killings, cross-border vehicle hijackings, and it seems they are protected by politicians and law enforcement. So is this simply a turf war? Or are we seeing the exposure of a deeply embedded criminal ecosystem operating in plain sight? One of the writers of that stunning piece in the Sunday Times yesterday was investigative journalist Sabelo Sikiti, who joins us now. Sabelo, always a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good
morning to your listeners as well.
You would have heard many South Africans throwing this phrase, mafia state. Reading your piece yesterday, are we a mafia state?
Well, I think, Bongani, given the sort of the work that we've done on this story, and I think the things that we've seen and the picture that's beginning to emerge for us about, what is the so-called Big Five cartel, I would certainly say so. I mean, the revelation that we've seen, obviously, in the Madlanga Commission show you just how deeply entrenched members of these cartels are involved in sort of the procurement space in government. And of course, the city of Tshwane and the city of Ekurhuleni are not the only ones. If you move down to KZN, for instance, you've got the same sort of influence in municipal tenders, in provincial government tenders, and in some of these state-owned entities. So for me, this is what I think that the thing has been for us through this journey, is seeing you always had the sort of criminal underworld within the taxi world. You had the criminal underworld in drug trafficking and all of that. But what we're beginning to see now is that it's much more organized than what we thought. The Big Five, for instance, consists of individuals that exist in all these worlds. And then you've got the violence attached to the people like the cat maklalas and the killers for hire. And then you have the influence again across the country. That these people are able to have over politicians, very senior politicians across the political spectrum, and then these institutions of.
Oh, we're losing you there for a bit, the signal not working with us. But, I mean, reading your piece, it's clear there's an extensive breakdown of the rule of law. As you and your colleagues worked on this story, what would you say stood out for you as perhaps the most alarming or unexpected revelation?
Well, I think for me, and I mean, I know this is going to sound pretty strange, Bongani, is that what we've been sort of hit with, I think, in the last sort of 6-7 months publicly, is just how how compromised our law enforcement agencies are. The fact that the police are now seen as, probably part of the criminals. If not that, they are seen as people that actually are not very useful when it comes to work. The heartening thing for me when we got insight into the investigation was just how much work actually the police put in this particular story. I mean, if you look at the fact that they were able to place the suspects in a situation where inside Nikuwe, outside the restaurant where where Joe Sabanyoni was sitting, they were there, they could trace them, they could trace their connections on cell phones. They then could trace them via, number one, the toll gantries on the freeway, and then also again via cell phone towers as they moved then from Bryanston to Centurion, ultimately where, the crime took place. And then, with a vehicle that was used in the commission of that crime disappearing off the freeway within minutes of the shooting, they were able to actually trace it, I think, through 2 or 3 different owners, right to its current owner, retrieve the vehicle, match the evidence that was picked up at the scene to the current vehicle, even though the vehicle at the time had been wrapped in a different color. And I think for me, these are the things that should give South Africans hope, but then should also make us demand of the same sort of services in all these cases. Because for me, just then again showed me that the capability is there within the police service. And perhaps, the capture of the police that we've been seeing in the Madlangas and all that might just be a bit deeper, because this certainly was an anomaly in terms of how the police deal with crime in South Africa.
I mean, I read your piece and it felt very much like, the script of, a drama series, a crime series, or indeed a crime movie. Let's just go through some of the details of that. And I suppose I want to start it with the death of Jotham Mswazi Msibi. That really was the cat that set all of this among the pigeons.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and I think for me, again, it's important because it sort of pulls back, to those connections that I was making earlier. We had always sort of, whatever conflicts that took place in the taxi world were conflicts that were happening, as part of what we used to call taxi violence. But what we're seeing now is because you then have, the involvement of the drug dealing cartels as well now, as well as the relationship with the politics. You can see now that the tussle was actually beyond a taxi violence thing. It was a tussle for control, and for space within these cartels, because we know now that these cartels come with far more lucrative, enrichment than what you would normally get in the taxi industry, because you're now talking about people that are controlling procurement everywhere. And of course, there had been this verbal agreement between these two sort of big giants in the taxi world. This was Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni, and then Jotham Msibi on the other side. The agreement was that there was going to be a peaceful transition, in that Sibanyoni, being the understudy of the late Mswazi, of course, would have then come in, and taken over when the man reached retirement. And of course, the closer it got, which we now know to be around 2019, 2020, there was a changing of minds where, Mswazi rather than felt that, I think I might still want to go on forever. And a chilling quote for me that Sibanyoni has in his affidavit is when the guy told him that in the taxi industry, you work until you die. That, of course, was like a thing that I think it sent chills through him as well, because immediately after that conversation, he then started stepping back a bit, to a point where there was then a confrontation, where the guy said, I can see that you're moving a bit further away from me. He then, of course, in his response, reminds him that you have tried to kill me before, and then, of course, that will culminate into that night in 2002 outside the Centurion Golf Estate, where he shot twice in the stomach.
And that's really what you were saying the police were able to do, is to track the vehicles, coordinate with their devices, for example, in terms of their location, when the phone calls were made, to whom, by whom, and all of this evidence points, along with whatever CCTV footage they might have, all of this points to the suspects that have been arrested. But I want to talk for a little bit about the current Santaco president. This is now Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni. This was the guy that they attempted to kill on that night. Of course, he's called Ferrari because he drives one.
Yeah, and as it sort of bears in this story, it starts with him, once again going to a dealership in Bryanston, going to pick up another Ferrari. He's quite a flamboyant figure, and I suppose this is what we thank social networks for, because he's quite well known on social media. He posts a lot about the love for the vehicles and the vehicle that he drives.
Sabelo, are we losing you there for a bit again? Are you there?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we just lost you after the vehicle. I mean, listen, I don't know these things. I don't quite know how the taxi industry operates, but I would imagine you don't get a Ferrari from taxi fares.
Well, I mean, look, no one should ever scoff at money that, is collected in the taxi business, especially when you are the likes of the Ferraris. Your taxis run into the thousands in some cases. And remember, by virtue of him being the leader that he is able to bypass, choose in the taxi ranks where some guys might be forced to share. They always go to the front of the line. And of course, I mean, again, this is something that, that the government also complains about from time to time, is that we don't know much about the inner workings of the financial side of the taxi business, unfortunately. I'm convinced that the tax that could be collected there, is much more than what we collect. Yeah. If you consider, the sort of monies that are involved. But then again, this would have been a clue for us, because the sort of wealth that we are talking about, extends far. I think even the taxi industry on itself, can generate. But then if you talk about, the existence of a cartel that suddenly involves consignments of drugs, smuggling, and it also then looks at high-value tenders. As I said, I mean, what we are beginning to get an idea of is a network that extends beyond Gauteng province. It goes to every other province in the country. If you have these shadowy individuals that are now in a position to sort of control all of this, is very, very fascinating. And I think it points us to the fact that, the source of the income is far beyond than what we have a picture of.
Yeah. No, without scoffing at the taxi industry at all, but I think what's clear from your investigation and some of those affidavits is that what we used to assume were different sides, working against or even with each other are really often the same thing. Sunday Times investigative reporter Sabelo Skiti, appreciate your time. Great piece in the Sunday Times. You can still get it online from the online version of the newspaper. You can read it yourself. But just having heard all of that, can anyone convince you we are not a mafia state?
EWN Business
news. We're not talking Ferraris this time with Teo Khwaripe, but Toyota taking a production hit.
Yeah, Toyota Motor says global production fell for a fourth consecutive month in February, dragged down by weaker output in Canada. Global vehicle production shrank 3.9% from the same month a year earlier to 749,000 vehicles. Now, Toyota overall demand was strong, but output fell as it switched production from the old to the new RAV4. Now, output dropped 46% in Canada, about 11.5% in China, big consumption market for them, 2.6% in Japan as well as the Middle East. Now, global sales also declined 3.3%, while overseas sales also were down 2.2%. But in South Africa, Toyota remains a favorite. In February, they sold 12,272 new vehicles, securing about a 23% share of the domestic market.
Yeah, I used to love the RAV4. I think when I was a student, it was like my dream car. RAV4.
Now you're going bigger and better.
I didn't hear that. I'd rather hear about the markets.
Let's stick to the markets.
I don't have a Ferrari, no.
17
Don't start
rand,
any rumors.
17 rand 12 cents against the US dollar, 19 rand 69 against the euro, and 22 rand 71 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,505 an ounce, while platinum is up 3.5% at $1,916. A Brent crude now at $108 a barrel. More business after 8.
From cartels to mules, Sfiso Zulu, what's happening at the airport?
Well, Bongani, good morning. 5 drug mules have been arrested at OR Tambo International Airport. Police say the women were in possession of drugs worth more than 5 million rand over the weekend. The police's Amanda van Wyk says the group was en route to China via Dubai.
A search led to the discovery of drugs concealed inside their sneakers, underwear and private parts. The suspects are expected to appear before the Kempton Park Magistrates Court on Tuesday, the 31st of March, on charges related to drug trafficking. Investigations remain ongoing.
While staying on the East Rand, 2 people remain in hospital following a shooting near Alberton. The attack caused traffic disruptions along the busy N12 yesterday. 1 person died in that shooting, and police recovered high-caliber ammunition at the scene. Gauteng Police spokesperson Tinswalo Sibego.
Police are investigating a case of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. No suspects have been arrested at this stage, and the motive for the incident is unknown. Police investigations are ongoing.
KwaZulu-Natal Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli is warning that police have not deviated from their work in dealing with criminals. National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula was in the province to inform the Premier and SAPS top brass about the renewal of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's contract as the head of police. Ntuli says crime fighting will intensify in KZN during Mkhwanazi's 5 years at the helm.
KwaZulu-Natal is a place wherein you cannot consider to come and commit crime, because now everything is in order to ensure that we fight crime.
The Eastern Cape's ANC leadership will meet with the party's national officials today to take stock of the party's postponed provincial conference. Provincial leader Oscar Mabuyane also says the gathering could reconvene as early as next month. The party was forced to postpone its 10th provincial conference this weekend after a group of disgruntled members were granted an interim interdict to stop it from proceeding until it resolves its internal disputes over branches. Babalondense reports.
Oscar Mabuyane says they will meet the party's national officials today to hold face-to-face discussions with the party's top leadership over the failed conference. Mabuyane told delegates at the weekend that the court interdict was not of their own making and they've done everything right.
We are going to the national leadership. We've spoken to the national leadership. They are also keen because they want us to find a collective solution on this particular matter moving forward.
He says the court instructed the party to resolve its internal disputes before moving ahead, and this could happen as early as next month.
This conference is going to sit, comrades. It must sit before the end of April.
Provincial Secretary Lulama Ngcukai Tobi, meanwhile, was forced to reject a letter announcing his resignation, calling it fake news. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Kukombo in the Eastern Cape.
And taking a quick look at news making international headlines, Australian police have shot dead a fugitive gunman wanted for killing 2 officers. Desmond Freeman fled into dense bushland in August last year after shooting the 2 cops in Victoria State. The 56-year-old was shot when he opened fire over the weekend on police as they raided his home in the small village of Popenka. This ends a 7-month manhunt for one of the country's most wanted criminals. And China's national carrier has resumed flights between Beijing and Pyongyang today following a 6-year suspension. The reclusive country of North Korea is gradually opening up after sealing its borders during the COVID-19 pandemic. The first Air China flight departed a few minutes ahead of schedule, leaving from Beijing Capital Airport to Pyongyang Sunan International Airport. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 30.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M2 East approaching the Geldenhuys interchange. That's due to peak time delays that are reported on the N3 North. So the pressure is piling up as well on the M2 East. If you are traveling on the Mike 1 North, do expect delays between Boysons Road and Empire Road. There's also queuing traffic in the city of Tshwane along the N1 South. This is between the Proof Plus interchange and Linwood Road.
The top story this hour: 5 drug mules have been arrested at OR Tambo International Airport.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Manyatela Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
On the go and your stomach suddenly not keeping up? That burn, bloating, or reflux could be symptoms of an ulcer, and stress can make it feel even worse. Ulcernic offers triple action relief by coating your stomach lining with a protective layer and works for up to 6 hours, and no prescription is needed. You can choose between suspension tablets or effervescent tablets. Keep an eye on the shelf for Ulcernic's new packaging, a fresh new look outside, the same trusted relief on the inside. Visit the Ulcernic Facebook page for more.
New from the House of Citroën.
Ah, so stylish.
470-litre boot space. I need it.
Keyless entry, so chic.
Cruise control. Oh, bonjour.
4-year or 60,000 kilometers service plan. Oui.
The stylish, all-new Citroën Passat is here. You want a piece of it. Starting from 354,900 Rand. Register now for limited deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Government hosting the 6th Investor Conference. People from 31 countries are due to come here and hopefully will be pledging money that will be invested in our economy. The Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition is Parks Tau.
Well, first I should say that from the commitments that have been made in previous investment conferences, a lot of these have been translated into actual practical projects on the ground. In fact, 43% of those commitments have been achieved.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
For 20 years, ABSA has been a proud sponsor of the ABSA Cape Epic. And now they're giving you a chance to take your grit to the gravel. Join Team ABSA Cycling on Strava. Upload your rides and you could win one of 2 ABSA Cape Epic 2027 team entries. Because your story matters. ABSA is a registered FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongani, the taxi conversation here, like, yeah, you could easily afford a Ferrari off of taxi fares if you owned enough of them, but I think the deeper question here is, like, how many of these guys have been put, like, against serious tax audits on their businesses? The taxi industry, we all know, rakes in billions and billions of rand every year, but it's not formalized or anything, and it's mostly a cash business. And it's nice to have all those lacquer things like Ferraris and Porsches and what have you, but how much money is actually being put into the economy? And the answer, I think we all know, is very, very little. So anyone who has those high living lifestyles, who are taxi bosses and that, should absolutely 100% be put against very, very stringent tax audits to see how much money they actually did make. It's an industry in the country that's really does, it could contribute billions and billions of rand to the economy, and it doesn't.
Hi, Bongani. Hearing of this taxi guy, I mean, wouldn't SARS be involved in this investigation? Because I agree with you. I mean, taxis, the way that they look sometimes, I mean, to be collecting whatever it is that they collect and driving a Ferrari, I don't know. Shouldn't it be investigated from a tax perspective, whether this guy is paying tax or not? Yeah, Zuko, thanks.
The worry is, as you heard from Sabelo Skiti there, this isn't just about monies these folks will make from one industry, right? So as I mockingly quipped that, do you get to drive a Ferrari from owning taxis? Maybe you do, but that's not all these guys do. And I think that's the focus of the story. They're involved in so many other things, whether it's tenders, and then of course there are all sorts of other things like contract killings, drug pushing, vehicles that are hijacked. And that's what these investigations are beginning to show, that many of these operators aren't involved in just one thing. And one is often a cover for something else. And that's why positions are fought for with such intensity, right? That's why if I want to be the next boss, if the guy doesn't retire or move out of the way, we try to kill him. That's exactly what happened to this Ferrari chap. He was at a celebration with his pals, celebrating his new Ferrari, or his latest Ferrari is the more accurate way to say it. Are you going to tell me that the guy who owns a Ferrari, all the taxis he may own, are all in tip-top shape? They're safe for the travelers who use them? Imagine if they knew. If they knew that their 4444 goes into buying Ferraris.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. It's your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if someone else can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Oscar. Oscar, please give us today's answer.
Good morning, Bongs. The answer is 58 years.
58 years. And tell me, Oscar, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
I was a member of Outsurance. Unfortunately, my policy elapsed because of unemployment.
Oh, I tell you what, Oscar, how about 1,000 Rand to give you a leg up?
Oh, thank you, Bongs.
Small little bit of a lift. Small little bit of a lift. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Oscar saying today the answer is 58 years. 58 years. Notice he didn't say old. Don't get confused. He just said 58 years. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 8830 702.
EWN Sport.
And of course, 444 is for anybody who's never been in a taxi. That's how the money is collected per row of seats, where usually there are 4 passengers, and sometimes people complain that we're all too squashed. Let's have 3, and the drivers or the marshals will insist that it's 444, and that's how the money is collected and passed on to the driver. Who knew 444 could give you a Ferrari? I'd say what, a formation people will be more familiar with that does get some people Ferraris is football.
4-4-2.
Right? There's a formation.
Well, technically, if you go from the middle row of the taxi and you go forward, it'll be 4-4 and then 2 in the front. Yeah. But anyway, Bafana Bafana play Panama in front of a sold-out Cape Town crowd tomorrow. They failed to win their last 2 games, but coach Hugo Bross is confident.
We played a game on high level. We played good football, modern football. Not only when we had the ball, but also when we lost the ball. So I hope that we can do that a second time, and that should be very good for us, because when I said already before the game, this is a preparation game. The result is not so important. The performance is more important, but I didn't want to lose two games one after another again.
Tottenham Hotspur hovering 1 point above relegation have axed manager Igor Tudor. He won only 2 of his 7 games he was in charge. In cricket, the Titans are one-day cup champions. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets. Peterson made 90 runs off 134. Dwayne Jansen got a runnable 61. While the Proteas women beat New Zealand by 2 wickets, they're one up in a 3-match ODI series. Kaká took a career best 6 for 56 and debutant Reyneke smashing the needed 6 off the last ball for the win. In tennis, Jannik Sinner is the first person since Roger Federer in 2017 to win both Indian Wells and the Miami Open. Sinner cruised past Leheke 6-4 and 6-4 in the Miami Open final.
Yeah, it's a very, very special moment. Coming here, performing again in a very good way after Indian Wells means a lot to me. And finals are always very, very different and difficult to play. And today's conditions were very different, very heavy. So we both struggled a little bit in the beginning, but it was also a bit windy at some point. So it was not easy today, but I'm very, very happy.
The women's title was won by Sabalenka, who needed 3 sets to see off Goff 6-2, 4-6 and 6-3. 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli is now the youngest ever F1 driver to lead the championship after winning in Japan ahead of Piastri, Leclerc, Russell and Norris. 4-time champion Verstappen finished 8th. He's considering quitting at the end of the season. He's not happy with F1's new regulations around power units and chassis. And in MotoGP, a 3rd win in a row for Bezzecchi, winning the Americas ahead of Martin and Acosta. Defending champion Marc Marquez finished 5th. South African Brad Binder was 12th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sports.
EWN Traffic.
14 to 8, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Peugeot. Pretty tough. Amo?
Bongani, an accident on the N1 South reported right near Rivonia Road, causing delays coming out of the Baklu interchange. And if you're traveling towards the city of Tshwane, please be on the lookout for roadworks that are taking place right near Olifantsfontein Road. About a 15-minute hold up there. Please try to use the N1 North through Midrand. And traveling in Centurion, we've got heavy traffic volumes. This is along the N14 East between the R55 and the Brakfontein interchange. Peak time delays there. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Peugeot Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Peugeot pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. So whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Peugeot has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Peugeot dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty, but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question if the answer is 58 years. Let's go to Moira in Randburg. Moira, what's the question?
Question is, how old is Celine Dion is 58 years old today. How old is Celine Dion? She'll be 58 years old today.
But you're answering the question.
How old is Celine Dion today?
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, got confused here. Sorry.
You're answering the question at the same time. No worries, Moira. You always had it. And tell me, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I had.
Oh, you biscuit. 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. Celine Dion turning all of 58 today.
Have you ever been in love? You could touch the moonlight when your heart is shooting stars. You're holding heaven in your arms. Have you ever been so in love? Have you ever walked on air? You ever felt like you were dreaming when you never thought it could, but it really feels that good? Have you ever been so in love? Have you ever been in love? because you loved me.
Three-year-old Almero knows all about saving with Outsurance.
We do save 417 Rand. That's about 5,000 Rand a year.
That's an awesome saving on Almero's 2021 Ford Ranger.
And there's an out bonus that you get if you don't claim for 3 years. I am really looking forward to it.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
This Easter weekend, slow things down and savor the moments that matter. Let 702 be the soundtrack to your long weekend. Made for long drives, shared meals, and time well spent with the people you love. From the classics you grew up with on 702 Music Saturday to the rich, soulful sounds of Soulful Sundays. It's music that feels like home. Whether you're on the road, gathered with family, or stealing a quiet moment to yourself, we're right there with you. Take us with you wherever you go. Listen to 702 Live on the Prime Media Plus app. Just press play this Easter. 702. Let's walk the talk.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring PRASA. Their CEO, Hishan Emran, will be in conversation with us, and we do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports, no more disconnected systems, no more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
I mean, I suppose we don't have twins, so this is a little harder for us to relate, but I just thought this was such an incredible video.
Yeah, me too. So it's a fascinating video, and I've heard people in the past speak about twin telepathy. So if something happens to a twin sibling, the other sibling will feel it and experience it. So there was this rugby match between Grey College and Help McCar. and there is a ruck that's taking place, and there's twin brothers who play for the particular school, and the one twin is at this ruck and he's about to pick up the ball. Now his brother is maybe, 20, 25 meters away from him, but behind him, so he can't see his brother. And the next minute, the brother, who's 25 meters or so away, starts to run. And as he runs, he twists his ankle and he drops to the ground. Then the other brother, who's about to pick up the ball, who can't see his brother who's just fallen to the ground, winces in pain on his ankle area and drops to the ground as well. I mean, it is an unbelievable video to watch.
And if you see the video, the one brother who presumably sprains or twists his ankle is running. The other one isn't at all.
Yes.
But as soon as he takes off, seconds later, for no apparent reason, he just, collapses, also grabbing his ankle.
Yeah.
So does what I suppose the question would be, does what happens to one twin happen to the other?
So in this video, the one is saying the guy who actually sprained his ankle, he's injured, but the other guy is not. So it's not like his ankle
he just felt it.
He felt it. We felt something for a brief second or two, and then he was fine. He was not injured. So it's really, really bizarre. And I'd love to hear people who have twins, or if you are a twin, tell us your experiences or observations when, you can feel something that the other, your sibling, went through. Maybe I wonder if it's an emotional thing as well, or if it's just physical. But a really, really fascinating video to watch.
And can you feel it even if you are away from them, or do you have to be in close proximity to experience the same thing? I mean, I thought this was a stunning video. John O'Loud is his handle on X, and he'll post that video for you to see. Let's talk twin telepathy.
702 feedback with Siamtanda Matiso.
Siamtanda Matiso now in the hot seat.
Morning.
Isn't that just...
I find those very cute. I like watching it also on YouTube, where they challenge twins to pick up their hand to just see whether they can pick up their left hand or right hand. I'm always curious when it comes to that.
Didn't we have another video, I think it was an Adam Gilchrist story, sometime last year, where these twins finished each other's sentences?
Yeah,
remember that conversation?
Yeah, there was also the very serious and scary one where they had to find the DNA test because both of the twins were accused of murder or something like that. And
one of them had done it.
Yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, I'm interested in hearing those twin stories.
I have twin sisters, my father's daughters, and they're in adult life. They're just a few years younger than I, and they still dress the same way. Yeah. Even when they're far apart.
Can you guys tell them apart?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
For
the longest time I couldn't tell my cousins apart.
They look a lot like each other.
Yeah.
So they're not fraternal twins, but they're not super, super identical either, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Interesting, because mostly twins never want to dress the same. That's so
these
interesting.
Two do.
Many reacting to your question, Bongs, around fuel hikes and food. Listen, they're saying we're already tightening the belts, guys. We're using credit for groceries. We're not using our cars to go to work. Like, what more can we do now? They have to rethink about subscriptions that are on, canceling those. They have to rethink certain things about their lives. So many people concerned about fuel hikes, Bongs.
Look, one of the things we spoke about with a Competition Commission and the prices going up, James saying that prices won't necessarily go up on Wednesday, but I'm beginning to wonder about that, because if you're a retailer who now has to double your diesel bill to go and fetch product from wherever it might be, that input cost you're going to pass on to the consumer. And I don't know for sure if people are going to wait until the food actually goes up, or maybe that will be yet another increase. So how are you bracing yourself? It's 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Some fuel retailers are taking measures over possible significant increases, and the KZN Premier is glad that Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is back as the province's top cop. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Fuel limits are being introduced at some petrol stations along Johannesburg's R59, despite government insisting there's no national shortage. There are growing concerns over potential significant price hikes and global uncertainty linked to tensions in the Middle East. The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources is urging motorists to remain calm, saying supply is stable and there's no need for panic buying. Mongezi Koko reports.
EWN visited several petrol stations along the R59. Here, diesel purchases are being capped at 30 litres per customer. While station managers declined to comment to refer inquiries to corporate offices, motorists are seen making multiple attempts to purchase fuel, with some trying to circumvent limits amid fears of an imminent price increase.
Hearing from other customers, other garages are closed, they don't pour petrol, others have increased their prices dramatically. We don't know when this 30-litre limit will last.
The restrictions suggest pressure at retail level, likely driven by a surge in demand and stock management concerns. The Mineral and Petroleum Resources Department maintains that any supply disruptions are local and logistical, not a result of national shortages or international developments. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula says SAPS could not afford to lose Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi among its ranks, pointing to his return as KZN police head. Masimula officially made an announcement that Mkhwanazi will resume duties for another 5-year term. All this while explosive allegations of political interference in the police force made by Mkhwanazi last year are under the spotlight. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
All 11 districts and acting district commissioners in KwaZulu-Natal gathered at the provincial headquarters for the official announcement by National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula. Masimula outlines why Mkhwanazi was given a second term.
After careful considerations, reviews, assessments in terms of the work that General Mkhwanazi have done in this province, we came then to the agreement, and I gave him another 5-year fixed-term contract.
He says the state has spent a lot of money in training him to be the caliber of an officer that he is.
The state has invested a lot in him, making him one of the most highly trained senior police officer in our ranks. His training includes the highly specialized task force member, which made him train to the level of quite a high skill. All these qualities make him an asset to the organization.
Masimula says the reappointment will assist the service in tackling serious and violent crime. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Convicted fraudster and inmate Jermaine Prim is due back in the Palm Ridge Commercial Crimes Court today for sentencing. Prim drew widespread attention over the weekend after a television interview featuring him aired on Saturday. During the telephonic interview, he made a series of allegations against Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie, including claims linking him to the drug underworld. The Department of Correctional Services has launched an investigation, saying the unauthorized interview may point to a breach of internal controls. Kosikona Malinga Mnisi reports.
Jermaine Prim's fraud conviction relates to a 2018 case separate from 4 others yet to be finalized. Prim was arrested nearly 8 years ago while on parole. His parole was then revoked by Correctional Services after he violated his parole conditions. Minister Gayton McKenzie has denied all allegations, including claims he helped facilitate Prim's access to communication. McKenzie says he has never met Prim in person, adding that he contacted him in 2022 offering marketing assistance for the Patriotic Alliance. He says he believed him to be a member of the public, not an inmate. Meanwhile, Prim's name also surfaced at Parliament's SAPS ad hoc committee earlier this month. In a letter, he claimed he shared a cell with alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Kat Matlala and discussed serious matters with him. Prim further alleged he has a voiced recording linking McKenzie to drug dealers and illicit funds. Kosi Kona Malinga Mnisi, Eyewitness News.
And Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says that 9 people have been killed in Israeli strikes in the south of the Palestinian territory. AFP images showed bodies being transported from the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis, then laid out on the ground wrapped in white shrouds. Israel and Hamas continue to accuse each other of violating the ceasefire in place since October 10 that largely halted 2 years of war in the territory. Israel has continued to strike Gaza, killing at least 702 Palestinians since the start of the ceasefire. Israel says 5 of its soldiers have been killed since the start of the truce. Gold is trading at $4,490.13 an ounce. The rand is at 17.12 to the dollar, 22.72 to the pound, 19.72 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $115.32 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Centurion along the N14 East. This is between the R55 and Brakfontein interchange. That's due to an accident right after the R55. Please be on the lookout there while traveling. Out of Woodmead, an accident reported on the N1 South. That's right near Rivonia Road. Delays from the Baklu interchange.
And in your sport, Buffalo coach Hugo Broos doesn't care about Sundown's Champions League preparation. He's naming his strongest possible side for tomorrow's friendly with Panama. Less than 10 games to go in the Premier League, and Tottenham Hotspur start the search for a new coach. Titans are one-day cup champs. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets. And Yannick Sinner wins the Miami Open to complete a sunshine double.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Fuel limits are being introduced at some petrol stations along Johannesburg's R59, despite government insisting there's no national shortage.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this Monday morning. It's the 30th of March, 2026. How do you know that the price you are being asked to pay at your local shops, at your retailers, is a fair price? We spoke to the Competition Commission earlier, who are asking consumers to be vigilant in case unscrupulous businesses start price gouging. But will we really know? The Competition Commission says don't expect prices to go up as early as Wednesday. Yes, certainly fuel will, but the impact of, say, the cost of fertilizer, that will come downstream. But, Muteo, and I'm no business person, just help me figure this out. If I'm a retailer with trucks that suddenly have to pay a whole lot more for diesel, if I'm trucking my food or whatever goods from wherever, my diesel input costs have suddenly spiked. Do I wait until the farmer puts his food up?
It depends what type of retailer you are. If you're a budget retailer, you'll probably cushion the price for your consumer because that's what your business is based on. So you've probably budgeted or priced that in already. But if you are a retailer that trusts that your consumer can take the impact, you definitely raise the prices far sooner.
I think the point is we're not going to know really. The best we can do is compare prices and look for the most affordable. But I can't, I'm not going to pick up the phone to the Competition Commission because I'm not going to know.
Bongan, if you're a coffee lover and you buy a particular jar in January. And
do you know how quickly they go up?
Exactly. So you would have picked up and reported.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
That's all you can say, right? Ask AI to explain that. What is that? It's just hard. Between a rock and a hard place. That's the English equivalent, I imagine. Ntanda Mkhwanazi getting a 5-year extension of his contract or renewal of that contract. Remember, of course, they waited really until the last minute to make that announcement, and it's being made by Fanny Masemula, who himself is now embroiled in accusations, some of them linked to what Ntanda Mkhwanazi himself had to say about the National Commissioner, or I suppose more broadly, our law enforcement. We spoke a little earlier to Sunday Times investigative journalist Sabelo Skiti, really painting a grim picture of the criminal underworld, shadowy figures with a finger in almost every pie, whether it's the taxi industry or contract killings or tender fraud. All of these linked to the same individuals. And so what we've often seen as turf wars between rival taxi associations or operators has so much more in terms of what is at stake here and how this is all well coordinated. And one of the things they make sure to do is to pay those who would investigate them. But when it does come right, it really comes right, with the police now being able to link the attempted murder of Santaco president. This is, Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni, right? Did you ever imagine, Amo Utel, that your 444 Maslalisane can buy Ferraris? It can.
Depends on the fleet, I guess. If you got a very, very big fleet, just from the face value, I'm not in the business. But if you have a very big fleet, yeah, sure.
You can have a Ferrari.
Yeah.
We're in the wrong game, my friend.
Good morning, Bongani and the 702 lenders. I wonder why SARS doesn't go after the taxi industry. If they can go after, what are they called? Social entrepreneurs, those ones who are doing TikTok and all of those. If they can go for them, why not the taxi industry? The taxi industry is the oldest industry in South Africa, but I don't think they're paying tax. They're not taxed, and they're making money, billions.
Malum Bongani, you're underestimating what money these taxi people are making. Now, if the big bosses have in excess of about 1,000 taxis per person, yes, you have no idea. Now, I know someone who had like 13 taxis, and the lowest was checking in 800 a day. Now you can do the math if you have 1,000 taxis, because the big bosses, they have way over 100 taxis in different routes. Like, those people are raking in a lot of money in one day. Ferrari they can buy if they want to. The big bosses, they can buy a Ferrari if they want to.
Hey, Bongani, you missed an opportunity there. Who knew 44 could give you a Ferrari 458? Hector in Midrand.
Hector, listen, maybe just because it's out of my league, right? It's not even a consideration. It's not even a dream. It's not even a prayer. You know when people fast for something? Like, I couldn't even fast for a Ferrari. Right? Maybe because it's out of my league. Maybe it's just within reach. Hey, if the numbers, as some of them are calculating, some of the listeners are calculating them, if the numbers work out in that way, yeah, maybe a Ferrari is something that people can really afford. Kabazela wants to know about twin telepathy. Do you have a twin? And can you feel what they feel? It's an incredible video. It's a rugby match. Two identical twins. One sprains his ankle and falls down, and within seconds, his brother does the same. What makes it even more extraordinary for me is the idea that the brother who fell initially, he was actually injured. The second one merely felt the pain. He wasn't injured in the end, but he fell and touched his ankle more or less where his brother was injured. Tabang, you're in Kempton. You say twin telepathy is real.
Yes, Bongani. Good day, Bongani, and the listeners. Yes, it is real, 100%.
Tell us how you know. You're a twin.
Yes, Bongani, I am.
Yeah.
I went to school with twins, and in my primary days, and it was always spoken about that twins are this and that, and I never really wanted to entertain it up until later stage, where there was one day, I think it was just after high school, I tried to call my twin brother, and only to find out that he was also calling me, but I will just dismiss it as nothing really happening. And I think in 2023, the game changer was I fell on the 28th of August. I was preparing for a marathon on the 3rd of September. In that within the same period, I fell and broke my ankle. I was wearing a cast, but because I don't normally call my twin brother all the time, it's only the same race that I was preparing to run, the marathon on the 3rd of September. He fell on the same race. So I will definitely say, like, those things, they do happen. People may tend to ask, are you a twin? Yes. Does it happen? Yes. They do happen, Bongani. And to my surprise, he said, I didn't know that you fell, but I fell at a race. I said, the same race that you fell at. I showed him that this is the proof that I was preparing to run the same race, but I fell a week before.
Goodness me. And Tabang,
yeah,
when did you give up the dressing the same? Did you ever do it?
Yes, we used to do it. That was back, I think, in high school. If I'm not mistaken. No, on our 21st birthday. I said to my mother, nope, I'm not dressing the same as this guy. He doesn't have good taste. And that was the last time, Bongani.
I appreciate that call.
No, that was the last time, Bongani, so I will never do it. I mean, yeah, we different twins, but we do feel the same thing all the time.
If not style, certainly other things. There's telepathy there. All right, Tabang in Kempton Park saying twin telepathy is a real thing.
Hey, Bongani. You know, my grandmother was a twin, and when her twin passed on, for no apparent reason, at that moment, she was having a nap during the day, and she managed to fall down from the bed, and for no apparent reason, we don't know what pushed her, but basically the twin sister was passing on. So I believe that very much. Nonhlanhla Nkosi kaMakhubu in Soshanguve.
Morning, team. On this thing of twins, so my uncles are twins. One lives in South Africa, one lives in Australia, and have done for 30, 40 years. And they have both got this twin telepathy thing, but they both have bad hearts. But to the point that one had a heart attack in Australia and the other immediately phoned and said, what's wrong? And they both got bad hearts. They both had multiple things done on their hearts. But yeah, if the one is in pain, the other can feel it immediately. And they live continents apart. So definitely something funky around this twin telepathy. Ryan here in Joburg.
So this is not a twin story, but it's about two sisters. They are 1 year apart. It's either 1 year or 2 years apart. I'm not sure. So my aunt was showing me the story, and the one sister died of cancer on the 19th of March this year, a couple of days ago. And then on the 20th, the other sister died on the 20th of March because of cancer as well. So yeah, don't know how they channeled that. Sad story though.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's also a thing called coincidence, right? But the idea that you can feel it immediately and respond, I wonder what that does to you in terms of how you walk in the world, knowing that there's somebody out there who knows exactly what it's like to be in here. Remember that movie? Cindy, you're in Sandton. You've got twins and you think it's true.
Yeah, Bongani, I do have twin boys. They're 6 years old. And yeah, there was a day where the other one got a pimple on the head and complained about it. I checked. The following day, the other one woke up and had the same pimple, same everything. I was like, whoa, this is really a bit eerie. But yeah, they do feel each other to that extent.
My goodness. Appreciate that call. If you're a twin, I'd love to hear from you. Is twin telepathy a real thing?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hi, Bongani. On the topic of side hustles, I do have a 9-to-5 job, but I also have a side hustle where I bake. Because one salary is just not enough. We have to have more than one salary stream. My husband is on Uber. Kunjalo nje.
Problem is, fuel's going up and all that, and eventually food and everything will start going up. And then the war ends, oil comes back down to normal, fuel drops down, but the food price stays just as high. That never comes down. They must always look into that as well.
Yeah, Muteo Kharipe wanted to know a little earlier on, do you have a side hustle? Do you have a little business that you are running, something that you are doing to add to the income that you earn? Because one salary is probably not enough. I mean, this is a very big thing in the States, where people have a number of jobs.
Yeah.
And often will work 16-hour days, 6 hours here, 8 hours there, that kind of thing. Because, the cost of living is high.
Yeah, we're in a gig economy now where you find other skills or things that you can do on the side, whether it's the weekend. And you guys were talking about time. If you don't have time, working overnight, in fact, to try and cover the expenses. So it's getting there to in South Africa. But in an economy where there are no jobs, you find a way. You find a way.
Indeed.
EWN Traffic.
Let's find a way with Amo. This EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Slow traffic on the N3 North.
That's correct, Bongani. Roadworks are taking place between the Airlines Interchange and Van Buren Road. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the M2 West, we've got an accident near Heidelberg Road. Delays coming out of Silver Street. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 North. This is just as you approach Grayston Drive. Do remember that traffic lights are out of order at that turnoff, the M1 North and Grayston Drive. While traveling on the N1 South towards Bryanston, we've got an accident right on the N1 South near Rivonia Road. Delays as you come out of the Baku interchange. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent shuttling his kids, with a back seat full of chatter, laughter, lunch boxes, and lost shoes. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a regular yet special slice of a family's life. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, it's almost, 30 days now of this war in the Persian Gulf, and it doesn't appear there's an end in sight.
No, and indeed, the stated aim, of course, was regime change and people rising up, and the regime might have changed a bit, but it's only changed to another Ayatollah. So how does that work in Donald Trump's mind? We also hear him specifically talking about Karg Island. We've mentioned this before, this Iranian oil refinery, and how a deal could be made very quickly, but that he's considering seizing the island. And indeed, there are more US troops now going into the Middle East. They're not enough to invade Iran, but maybe for little bits of it, little bits of islands. We're also seeing the Israeli operation expanding, as well as striking targets in Iran. They're striking more targets inside Lebanon, and indeed ground forces are going across the border now. 3 journalists, by the way, killed in Lebanon, and 2 aluminium plants hit in the UAE, one in Abu Dhabi, one in Bahrain, amongst the biggest aluminium plants in the world. So the knock-on effect of that could be immense. Then not be put out of action, but Iran is certainly showing it can still strike at stuff too. On we go, as you say, day 30 into day 31. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, and I think one of the questions that will be asked is whether or not these negotiations, whatever form they are taking, are they in good faith if more troops are amassing towards Iran? And let's stick with the story in a sense. Donald Trump, of course, the US president, facing mass protests in the States over the weekend. No kings.
Yeah, the No Kings rallies. We've seen them before. Last June, after those strikes against Iran, remember those? And then October, and now again planned across all 50 US states. I think all states were covered in the end, but 3,200 events were planned. People marching through the streets of Washington, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, etc., etc. And there were some good turnouts in some of those, not so good in other parts. I've seen some pictures showing actually a sparse crowd, shall we say. It's not just about being anti-Trump, because this is not just about one personality, though, of course, he does rather overarch a lot of stuff. It's also about the policies, so about freedom of choice, the abortion argument in America, other arguments about immigration and customs enforcement. So people were there for policies as well as personality, and organizers had suggested there were 5 million at the first series of rallies, 7 million at the second. I don't know if they hit their stated target of 9 million, maybe not, maybe under that. But maybe also people are feeling the effects of war, and travel is expensive, and so you're not necessarily just going to pop out and flex your democratic muscle. Also, there is an uneasiness, I know, amongst some Americans, whether they felt safe going onto the streets to express their dislike for Donald Trump. That would be another issue.
Talking of safe, Adam, is a potato that's from out of this world safe to eat?
Yeah, a very interesting potato grown on the International Space Station. Two films involved in this, I would say. One is stated by the NASA astronaut Don Pettit. The reason why he carried out this experiment was the Matt Damon film, The Martian. Remember that, when he's stuck on Mars and grows potatoes and lives off potatoes for about a year and a half, I think it is, nothing but potatoes. So he wanted to sort of partly follow in those footsteps and grow what he's called Sputnik 1, well, of course it is, it's in space. It is the most worrying, hideous-looking potato you will ever see, if you see a picture online. So it's a potato that has sort of sprouted out, and because of zero gravity, the tubers, the roots, don't sort of stay in the right place. They're all going off a higgledy-piggledy. It's also gone purple. So is that an oxygen level thing? Not sure, but anyway, it looks absolutely hideous, like the alien life form in the Jake Gyllenhaal film Life. If you've ever seen that, spoiler alert, the ending does not go well for humanity. I think we need to leave that purple potato up there. Don't bring it down here.
Yeah, so we can't sing, so now it's back from out of space. We will survive, Adam. We will survive.
Not very appealing, let's put it that way.
EWN Business.
Thank you, Adam Gilchrist, for this morning's Worldview. And now to business news we turn. Certainly still turmoil on the markets, Muteo. This, of course, as Trump continues to use his secretary, his White House press secretary, to mouth off. And the Houthis now in the fray.
Yeah, oil rose on Sunday as Yemen's Houthis fired missiles at Israel, and US President Donald Trump reportedly said he wants to take Iran's oil, driving up the price of the commodity. May futures for the Brent crude rose 2.5% to $115 per barrel during early trade this morning, with the international benchmark heading for a record monthly jump. The US crude oil futures also gaining 1.5% to $102. In an interview with the Financial Times on Sunday, President Donald Trump saying his preferred option in Iran would be to take the oil that obviously will not be received quite well from Iran.
Not everything keeps going right, Toyota.
Toyota Motors says global production fell for a fourth consecutive month in February, dragged down by a weaker output in Canada. Global vehicle production shrank 3.9% from the same month a year earlier. Toyota said overall demand was still strong, but output fell as it switched production from the old to the new RAV4 sport utility vehicle, one of the most popular models that is producing at the moment. Output dropped 46% in Canada, about 11.5% in China, and 2.6% in Japan, while it was down 20.4% in the Middle East. Toyota South Africa, though, a few weeks ago, saying in February they had sold 12,272 new vehicles, securing a 23% share of the domestic market.
It's going to be a data-heavy week, Muteo, as we get all sorts of numbers. How are the market's looking at this stage?
Well, if you read into any weakness that we saw in the JSE on Friday, it's going to be a lot of turmoil as well this week. We saw the all share go down more than 1,000 points as the geopolitical pressure puts more pressure on emerging economies like South Africa. We're seeing it in our unit, the rand against the dollar at 17.08 at this hour, 19 rand 68 against the euro, and at 22 rand 68 cents against the British pound. Price of gold has gone up 0.5% though at $4,521 an ounce, while platinum is up 4% at $1,929. Brent crude is at $107 a barrel. There'll be more business this afternoon with Stephen Grotes.
Time now for the latest eyewitness news, and up next, the Horn lives on. Joburg Theatre to celebrate Hugh Masekela's legacy in a 4-day tribute. We'll tell you all about that. In the meantime, it's back to Sfiso Zulu at the news desk.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. 5 drug mules have been arrested at OR Tambo International Airport. Police say the women were in possession of drugs worth more than 5 million rand over the weekend. The police's Amanda van Wyk says the group was en route to China via Dubai.
A search led to the discovery of drugs concealed inside their sneakers, underwear and private parts. The suspects are expected to appear before the Kempton Park Magistrates Court on Tuesday, the 31st of March, on charges related to drug trafficking. Investigations remain ongoing.
KwaZulu-Natal Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli is warning that police have not deviated from their work in dealing with criminals. National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula was in the province to inform the Premier and SAPS top brass about the renewal of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's contract as the head of police. Ntuli says crime fighting will intensify during Mkhwanazi's 5 years at the helm.
KwaZulu-Natal is a place wherein you cannot consider to come and commit crime because now everything is in order to ensure that we fight crime.
The Border Management Authority says it is operating with just 25% of the resources it needs ahead of the Easter period. The authority has highlighted limited staffing and equipment, including 4 drones to monitor all 71 ports of entry. Parts of the measures taken include uniquely numbered passport stamps, and these are aimed at tracking officials and reducing fraud. BMA Commissioner Michael Siapato says they will rely on coordinated law enforcement operations and increased oversight for effective monitoring.
BMA is sitting at around just below 2,600 individuals in the ecosystem. We have emphasized that according to the structure, we are meant to be around 11,200. So there's basically more than 8,500 people short who are supposed to come through.
And the World Trade Organization says high-level talks in Cameroon ended early today with no significant agreements and a failure to extend a years-long ban on customs duties for e-commerce after deep divisions blocked a deal. As a consequence, the World Trade Organization moratorium that since 1998 has exempted cross-border digital transmissions from duties expired today. This does not mean tariffs will automatically be imposed, but it deals a heavy blow to developed countries as well as the United States in particular. Trade Minister and other delegates or ministers and other delegates meeting in Cameroon also failed to meet even small expectations on deals towards much needed reform of the World Trade Organization and on agriculture, among other issues. This disappointment was palpable following the talks which took place against a backdrop of heightened trade tensions and global economic turmoil linked to the Middle East war. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 27 and 30 degrees.
And in the traffic in Woodmead, we've got an accident on the N1 South that happened right near Rivonia Road. It's causing delays coming out of the Baku interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N1 South coming out of Allendale Road towards the Baku turnoff.
The top story this hour, 5 drug mules have been arrested at OR Tambo International Airport.
There are some things in life you can't replace. You know, the essentials. Dinners with the ones you love.
Dad, it's on fire.
Coffees discussing the ones you used to love.
It was standard 4, Mom. Time to let go.
Watching movies as you fall in love.
It's really smoky in here.
Get what you love for less with SA's best furniture essentials on sale right now at DecoFurn. In-store or at decofurnsa.co.za.
The Audi Open House sales event is now on. It's on until the 30th of April. It's the biggest Audi sales event of the year. Get to your closest Audi dealership and you can test drive a wide range of Audi models. Explore exclusive limited time offers and stand a chance to win an Audi Formula One experience. If you've been waiting for the right time to experience Audi, well, this is it. Visit audi.co.za for more or to book your test drive. Terms and conditions apply.
Every Easter, alcohol accelerates harms for families in South Africa. Our roads become deadly. Alcohol fuels violence and destroys our communities. This Easter, let's reduce the harms caused by alcohol. Increase excise tax above inflation. Excise tax is protection. For more information, follow the true cost of alcohol.
Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's a language MTN Business and 702 understand well. And that's why we're celebrating SMEs who walk that entrepreneurial talk in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, small businesses are proving that big things can grow from bold ideas. If that sounds like your business or one you know, go to primemediaplus.com to enter or nominate them. Because once we start talking about your business, who knows how much further it could go. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongi, good morning, man. Loris here from the beautiful Western Cape. With these looming petrol and diesel prices increases, let me tell you, I went into town on Saturday with a 300 rands. And guess what? 50 rand I had to spend on paying car guards. This is getting out of control, man. These car guards, they don't want to accept anything less than a 10 rand. And I've just said to myself, I'm not going to pay these guys any longer unless my car really needs to be guarded well. No. I cannot spend 50 rands from 300 rands. That's two breads. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Hi, Bongani. I can confirm that along the R59, yes, they have limited the amount of petrol to 30 liters per client. I don't know about diesel, what the arrangement is there. And also along the R82 in Didier, there's a total filling station where the price by Thursday, where I bought diesel, they'd already increased the price to over 28 rand a litre. Now, I don't know whether that's justified or it's price gouging, because, you know, as you're saying in the bulletin, that definitely some retailers will take advantage and start price gouging. That's my suspicion, because it was just shocking to me that it's one of the only, since Friday, I've been to 4 filling stations, and that one is the only one that has increased their diesel by that much in such a short period of time.
Good morning, Bongani and team. Bongani, this price hikes of the fuel is really a serious problem, and I don't hear you commenting on one of the voice notes from the gentleman who was talking about when the war ends, the fuel goes down, the fuel price go down, but the food prices don't go down. They stay the same. Instead, they even go higher and higher. So we need to look into that, because really we're struggling. We can't keep up with these high prices of food. Thank you.
Well, it's complicated, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly the discussion Cindy and I had off air a little earlier on, where, Cindy, I'm going to bring you now into the conversation. You were saying, yeah, it's one thing for people to assume food prices won't go up as early as Wednesday, but for any retailer that's trucking the food from wherever, if their input costs into, say, diesel go up or have already gone up, well, they're not going to wait until the farmer puts their price up.
So consumers have to remember that your fruit, that your fresh produce, your eggs, your meat, whatever, doesn't walk itself to the shops. So if a truck that I take to fill with diesel cost me 200 rand on Tuesday, it's going to go up by 9 rand a litre on Wednesday. So in order for me to get that product to your store, and it's regardless of what the product actually is, we say like it's food, but it's everything. Everything that needs to be delivered has to go up, because the person who is selling it, who uses a truck, it goes up 9 rand a litre. So they're not trying to scam you. They're not trying to trick you. Perhaps there are people who do take a chance, but the majority of people are going, I actually can't afford to get it to where it needs to be if I don't put it up.
And even if this thing ends today, there's a knock-on effect on how those prices get there. So the relief will not come that swiftly, I'm afraid. And then one of the voice notes talking about paying car guards 50 rand. I don't know what made you feel compelled to pay that much, if that's what you are complaining about. I mean, I think it's one of those, you try to be kind, you try to be nice. If you've got, you've got. But he's complaining that he spent 50 rand on car guards on a single afternoon. I'm not quite sure what compelled you.
So this is a tricky one. If I had to pay a car guard every time I'm at my local shop, it would cost an astronomical amount.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that I know he's always there, and I don't have cash on me anymore, and I feel so sorry for the car guards who because we don't carry cash.
Yeah.
I actually do tip him a monthly.
So what I often do is, especially if I'm going in, to buy groceries, for example, which I still prefer to do physically, I might say, if it's the regular one that, that greets me every Sunday or whatever it might be, I might say, hey, I'm going into the shops. Would you like me to get you anything? And sometimes all they want is just a loaf of bread or a 2-liter Coke or whatever it might be. And that feels like it's something I can sustain.
Yeah, I mean, nothing infuriates me more than when you pay for parking and there's a car guard or a security guard directing you out of the parking, and you're just like, absolutely not.
Nah. Not on top.
Not when I'm already paying for parking. That the onus is there on the shopping center to make sure I'm okay.
All right. The question is, how much are we paying Bafana's coach?
EWN Sport.
Full strength.
Remember he won't be the coach after the World Cup because he's going to enjoy his retirement and be with his grandchildren. But for now, he's fielding his strongest possible side to take on Panama in tomorrow's sold-out friendly, a decision that hasn't gone down well with Sundowns, whose players are preparing for the Champions League semi-finals.
I know that the Sundowns players have an overloaded program also the next weeks, but okay, this is not my problem. I have to prepare a World Cup. When we have a World Cup, the disappointed World Cup, people will not say, oh, coach is nothing, you saved the players of Sundowns. No. I think Sundowns has players enough. They have 35 players they can change, certainly here in PSL.
Tottenham Hotspur start the search for a new manager who can hopefully keep them in the Premier League. Spurs parted ways with Igor Tudor, who won only 2 of the 7 games he was in charge. They're 1 point above relegation. In cricket, Titans are your one-day cup champions. They beat the Lions by 3 wickets, while over at the IPL, Ryan Rickleton made 81 as Mumbai Indians beat Kolkata Knight Riders by 6 wickets. 4 times F1 champion Max Verstappen could quit at the end of the season as he's not happy with the F1 regulations around new power units and the chassis.
I'm thinking about everything inside this paddock. I mean, the rest, privately, I'm very happy, but this, you also wait for 24 races. Well, this time to 22, but normally 24. And then you just think about, is it worth it? Or do I enjoy actually being more at home with my family, seeing my friends more when you're not enjoying your sport?
Verstappen finished 8th in Japan yesterday and lies 9th in the overall driver standings. Top of the standings, 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli is the youngest driver to ever lead the championship. In tennis, Jannik Sinner is the first man since Roger Federer in 2017 to win both Indian Wells and the Miami Open in the same year. Sinner cruised past Lehecka 6-4, 6-4 in the Miami Open final. The women's title won by Sabalenka, who needed 3 sets to see off Goff, 6-2, 4-6 and 6-3. And in the United Rugby Championship this weekend, another successful clean sweep for the South African teams. They all won. So the Stormers stay second. The Lions are 5th, the Bulls are 8th, and the Sharks are 10th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 9 o'clock. Amo, do you want to wrap up the morning's traffic?
Of course, Bongani, we've got some delays on the N1 South between Allendale Road and the Baku interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South heading towards Bryanston. This is due to another accident reported right near Rivonia Road. It's causing delays there. There's also queuing traffic along the R21 North heading towards the city of Tshwane. Delays towards Olifantsfontein Road. That's due to roadworks. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Okay, coming up on the Clement Manyatela Show. Clement is on Zoom in Cape Talk.
Hi.
So
Hi.
I'm looking with a bit of a delay because I thought, but why is he playing that jingle? Where's Clement?
Oh, I see.
Find a Clement.
I'm in our Cape Town studio this morning, Bongani. Good morning to you.
Very good morning to you. What's on the show?
So coming up on the show, we are going to start with the 702 open line. There's a lot to unpack. The different provincial conferences of the African National Congress that have been taking place. But also, there was an interview that Mike van Wyk from Medicare 24 did on ENCA, and News 24 has a story that they published. So we're going to reflect on that. I'll tell the listeners what that is about on the open line. We'll also reflect on that Japanese Grand Prix that Cindy Polito was talking about, and of course the news of Max Verstappen possibly considering stepping down at the end of the season. But at 10 o'clock, we are going to look at the issue of petrol and diesel. I'm told by the producers that there are a number of people that are going to petrol stations, and when they arrive there, they are told, well, the stations are rationing some diesel and petrol themselves. So we're trying to get an association that can help us understand what the picture is on the ground. 10:30, we continue with our series looking at multilateral institutions. Today, we're going to be looking at a continental multilateral institution, the African Union. And we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our Family Matters feature. And today, we are talking about suicide effects on families.
Gosh, that's a bit of a rough one. Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
35 African utility CEOs have been confirmed for Enlit Africa's invitation-only CEO forum on unbundling, prosumer management and financial sustainability. This executive experience features project briefings, deal rooms and ministerial dialogues from 19 to 21 May at the Cape Town International Convention Centre.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
From promise to progress, South Africa is stepping into its next chapter of growth. The Clement Manyatela Show will be live from the 6th South Africa Investment Conference. That's tomorrow at the Sandton Convention Centre. You can be part of the conversation that moves South Africa forward as government and global partners come together to unlock capital, drive growth and shape the country's economic future. Clement Manyatela live from the 6th South Africa Investment Conference tomorrow on 702.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The music lives on. The horn keeps blowing. It's been years, of course, since we lost the legendary Brahu Masekela, but his music, his message, certainly I think his spirit still echoes across generations. And now the Joburg Theatre wants to bring that legacy back to life with a powerful 4-day tribute that won't just be about remembering Brahu, but really celebrating his sound and how it shaped South Africa's identity. From jazz to Afro-pop, it's about honoring a man whose trumpet told our stories to the world. Pula Twala joins us now to talk to us about her father's legacy and, of course, the Hugh Masekela Heritage Foundation, where she is a board member. Pula, a very good morning to you. Thank you for your time today.
Good morning, Bongani. Thank you so much for having me.
I always think about what it must be like to have a famous father whom everybody feels a sense of ownership over.
Well, he was a man of the people, so it's all I've ever known.
You were happy to share him with us, hey?
Yes, definitely. He's done so much beautiful stuff that it's worth it.
Yeah, and look, we appreciate that you continue to give to us who he is and what his music has stood for. So what does a tribute like this to your father mean to you on a personal level?
I think the beauty of it really is the fact that, for starters, April is his birthday month. On the 4th is his birthday. And so we're excited to join forces with Joburg Theatre to celebrate that. I don't know if it's so much on a personal level, but really for his own personal reasons. Like, he loved music. He loved for there to always be, so much sound, so much performance, so much collaboration. And so it just makes us happy that we're able to have musicians, young and old, still continuing something that he loved so much.
All right, talk to us about what we can expect. What are some of the big names that are going to be part of this tribute?
So we are excited because we have Vusi Mahlasela, who worked with him. And we also have Trezor, who worked with him. And we have Zoe Modiha, who's always been very close to the foundation. She's worked with us many times at the Hugh Fest. And as well as Judith Supuma, who's also worked with Bra Hugh. And then we have two a cappella bands, which is the Baobab Sisters and Complete, whom he both taught a lot of music. So he was their mentor. So it's beautiful to come and see the mentees getting on stage and coming to also celebrate the music he taught them.
And, of course, it's going to be over this 4-day period. And it starts on the 30th of March. Am I correct?
No, it's from the 9th to the 12th of April. So it's 4 nights at the Joburg Theatre. It's a Thursday to a Friday.
The rehearsal starts.
From today we are rehearsing like crazy. Excitedly, we have James Ngobo, who brings so much drama and theatre to anything that he puts on stage. And we have Sydney Mavundla, who's got the big band. We've got a lot of horns, obviously, percussion. So we are very excited. It's a big band presentation, and James brings the drama to it. So the rehearsal starts today.
Absolutely. James is always going to be James Ngobo, and we love him for that.
Obviously, yeah.
Bra Hugh was obviously, first and foremost a musician, but also his activism was very much a part of that music and that personality. And he didn't always, he didn't always say the things people wanted to hear, but he certainly spoke up about what the things we needed to hear. What do you think he might be saying to us at a time like this?
I think it's a thing of coming back to community and collaboration. You know what people forget about, like every time anything is tough in the world, we have to begin like between our four walls first. How we relate with one another, what we teach each other, what we learn from each other. And I've said over and over, one of his favorite things, or at least if he had signed anything from you, he'd always said, love, learn, and teach. And those are the things that begin at home, that begin in communities, that begin in schools. And I think it would be like, let's reflect back to starting that way, to our fellow men right next to us, how you treat this person, loving them, learning from them, teaching them, and always being in a place where, you always bring a sense of community and collaboration to any space. We only tend to grow from that.
Oh, man, appreciate your time. You put it really well there. Pulatwala, the daughter of Bra Hugh Masekela, that tribute concert happening at the Joburg Theatre in Braamfontein, 4 days only, 9 to 12 April 2026. You can get tickets at the Joburg Theatre box office or at Web Tickets.
Timnela toti abanye abantu ngemimese nabonga abantu uzokhula nini lekhululeko yethu mina kangiboni ngiboni kasi lethu elikhipha ngesandla sethu kanganani yekanani ukumonelana isizwe siyasihleka lalelani siluthando helele chileshe ungabayeki bakubiza ikirimane nawungumuntu uzovuka nini welele ngobese yekubiza abanye abantu izilwane nabo ngabantu uzofunda nini yelele mabunu yeka nukubiza abanye abantu amakafula nabo ngabantu nizodlala nini timlela zoti yeka ukuphatha abanye abantu ngemimese nabo ngabantu uzokhula nini.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. I see her floating lazily through the market like a butterfly. Oh yeah, I won't forget the day the sun came shining in. Hey, hey now, oh yeah, just like the dawn, bringing in the rays for that sunshine in Congo. A flaming torch, she lit up the marketplace so brightly. Colors as in a flower garden, gracing her lapa, shimmering in purples and the yellows, and all the shades sparkling in the skies in the rainbows of the Congo. Cornrow hair in a million braids, eyes lit up like the northern star, a smile that weaves a spell when she goes to look into my eyes. She's turning me on with fever as she passes me by. Hey mama, suddenly I'm walking right beside her, really turning her on. When I tell her I'm going wherever, she'll be going when she leaves the market. Right away, I go to carry her bag of vegetables. Hey, hey, now we walk towards the road that
goes down to the village. Oh man. You know, in the midst of difficulties, challenges, uncertainty, you need a little bit of hope, right? You need that music that carried you through tough times before. Because if nothing else, perhaps what you really need is to remember that nothing is permanent. What's that old saying? I've been at the top and I've been at the bottom, And I'll be both places in the future over and over again. Rahub, giving us a little bit of hope. On at the theatre, at the Joburg Theatre, the 9th to the 12th of April. It's 9 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Fear and uncertainty are beginning to surface at some petrol stations in Johannesburg, despite government insisting there is no fuel shortage. EWN visited at some petrol stations in Johannesburg, despite government insisting there is no fuel shortage. EWN visited some petrol stations along the R59, which have started limiting diesel sales. Customers are only allowed to purchase up to 30 litres. The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources maintains there is no crisis and is urging motorists not to panic buy. Mongezi Koko reports.
Government warns panic buying could